books they tell of their defeat in 45. They all came out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died. They say the prisoner of Spandau was a symbol of defeat, whilst Hess remained in prison and the fascists they would beat. So the promise of an Aryan world would never materialize. So why did they all come out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died? The world is riddled with maggots, the maggots are getting fat. They're making a tasty meal of all the bosses and bureaucrats. They're taking over the boardrooms and they're fat and full of pride. And they all came out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died. So if you meet with these historians, I'll tell you what to say. Tell them that the Nazis never really went away. They're out there burning houses down and peddling racist lies. And we'll never rest again until every Nazi dies.
Woke up one morning and there were soldiers. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Woke up one morning and there were soldiers. The invasion had begun. Lend me your shoulder, we'll stand together. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Lend me your shoulder, we'll stand together. But I feel my time has come, and if I die here for the resistance, oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. And if I die here for the resistance, you must lay me in my grave among the flowers upon the mountain. Oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Among the flowers upon the mountain, let me rest among the brave. Someday the people will pick the flowers. Oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Someday the people will pick the flowers, and they will remember my name. This is the flower of the resistance. Oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. This is the flower of the resistance, and those who died for liberty. This is the flower of the resistance. Oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. This is the flower of the resistance, and those who died for liberty. This is the flower of our resistance, and those who died for liberty.
Come all of you good workers, good news to you I'll tell, of how the good old Union has come in here to dwell.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
My daddy was a miner and I'm a miner's son, and I'll stick with the Union till every battle's won.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
They say in Harlan County there are no neutrals there. You'll either be a Union man or a thug for J.H. Blair.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Oh, workers, can you stand it? Oh, tell me how you can. Will you be a lousy scab or will you be a man?
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Don't scab for the bosses, don't listen to their lies. Us poor folks haven't got a chance unless we organize.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
I was born in the Dublin street where the boy drums do beat, and the lovely English people walked all over us. And every single night when they tell, come home tight, he'd invite the neighbours out with his chorus. Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like Galloway from the green and lovely lace of Gilshandra. Come tell us how you slew them old Arabs 2 by 2, like the Zulus they had knives, bows and arrows. Of how bravely you faced one with your 16-pounder gun, and you frightened all the natives to the marrow. Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like Galloway from the green and lovely lakes of Gilshandra. Come let us hear you tell how you stand the brave Parnell and taught them well and truly persecuted. Where are the stares and jeers that you proudly let us hear when our heroes of 16 were executed? Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like Galloway from the green and lovely lakes of Gilshandra.
Ding dong, the witch is dead. Witch all with the wicked witch. Ding dong, the wicked witch is dead. Ding dong, the witch is dead. Witch all with the wicked witch. Ding dong, the wicked witch is dead.
Oh, come out, you pretty sons, come out and fight without your guns. Show your wife how you won medals up in Derry. You murdered 16 men and you'll do the same again. So get out of here and take your bloody arm.
Hello there, hello there, hello there, my little chipmunks. How are we all? Hopefully we're well. Yeah, we're doing an early question time because we didn't do it yesterday. So, that's what's happening. Nothing complicated. Nothing extraordinary, nothing groundbreaking in terms of either my stream or streaming more generally. I wish I could get my sleeping together. The Ashes doesn't help though. Actually, I don't know if the Twitter DMs are working or not. Yes, how is everybody? No, don't allow that. That's no. That flag, it is massive. I had to change the shape of the thing. You can, like, squish this thing down, but it made my head look weird and squished, like a fucking, I don't know, a fucking butternut squash thing or something. Which, you know, it's not the look I'm going for, really. Yeah, it is massive. I should have checked the description. Not description, the details on it. All good, Kev, up north beyond the wall. Oh, okay. Well, that could still technically be in northern England because the entirety of Hadrian's Wall is in Northumbria or wherever? North of England, whatever. What the fuck? I didn't ask for notification sounds. Get fucked. There you go. Anyway. Yes. How have we all been? Sleepy, it's early here. Where are you, Spurly Curly? The wall behind the M4. What? I have seen between me and the... Well, that's... I mean, to be fair, I do live on an island. A very normal island, as I think we've all seen. So yeah, everywhere has water between us. Really. Vancouver. Oh, that is a long-ass way away. Also, fuck the Canucks. The hockey team, not the generic term for a Canadian. Oh, I didn't plug the fucking thing in. Oh, Jesus. I haven't got my soundboard prepared. Oh, no. Oh, that's terrible. You should still give me money, though, because I'm prepared so well for the last 2 fucking streams now. There you go. It's mad that I was scrabbling around in the darkness for a USB port and it went in first time, and yet in bright daylight the other day I think I set a new world record. I think it was either 7 or 9, I forgot. Different times I had to turn the USB thing around to find the right way in bright, like in full light in a room, and yet in the dark there, not even with a table in between me and the thing, boom, first time. I hate technology so much. I hate it. Like a drunken fumble in your... Well, basically, yes. I was the king of the bra. Clip. Done. Why's my camera fucking died? What?
Stop it. Get some help.
There you go. Right. We're back. But now it's reset to its fucking... Oh, for fuck's sake. No, I don't want it to auto-balance. I want to balance the fucking thing. There we go. How are we, Chow? Are we well? I'm not. Still an hour 15 left at work, but it's okay. Oh, God. Well. At least you can skive off and listen to me, I guess. You know, that's the main thing. Thank you, Marcel Paul, with 54 months. Good God, sir. Who would be abnormal island? Iceland. Yeah, Iceland is pretty abnormal, to be fair, yeah. Oh, hypno boob friend. Oh.
Shame it didn't work. Every trans woman in the country crying out for it.
True, true. So anyway, yeah. So you were on with Zach Polanski and that. That's
yeah.
that's
The podcast episode is premiering at 7 p.m. Although it's a bit unfocused. It's a bit
Sometimes
all over
maybe
the
good,
place,
sometimes
but it was
maybe
a good
shit.
conversation, I thought.
I'm not even jealous. And anyone who says I am jealous is a dickhead, and I'm going to stab you in Minecraft. So
to be fair, Kev, what it does mean is that you are now the streaming partner of somebody who's been on the podcast with Zach Polanski.
that is
You're
true.
famous by osmosis.
That, well, in a sort of roundabout sense, I mean, I've certainly any growth I've had in my YouTube has been because of the doing stuff with you, really. Yeah, and Turn Left, I guess, to a degree as well.
I mean, I'm so glad we have the collab feature now, because I felt like your subscriber count wasn't really going up, even though we were doing content together. And then as soon as they
Sometimes
changed
maybe
the
good,
collaborations
sometimes
were a
maybe
thing,
shit.
it immediately saw you increase your subscriber count, which was good to see.
True, but it does rather speak to how lazy YouTube people are. YouTube viewers because
I mean, this
now
yeah.
it's gone from having to click the link that was in the fucking description to it being the thing that. So essentially, you're saving one click. And that has been the difference between no one subscribing and hundreds of people subscribing.
Yeah, it's interesting. Because what's interesting is that when it's a collab, the subscribe button, even if you're subscribed to one of those channels, the subscribe button doesn't say that you're subscribed. It's prompting you to subscribe, and then you click subscribe, and it'll pull up both channels for you to subscribe to.
Yes, indeed.
So it's actually deliberately been done so that you subscribe to both channels, and I think that's a really good change.
Yes, I think so too. Yeah.
Also, thank you, I Can't Give a Duck, for very important news. Apparently, Nigel Farage only has one ball. Literally like Hitler.
Literally, no. We learned this yesterday on stream. We were doing jokes about this, and I don't know how we got onto the topic of. Oh, that was it. Someone said that someone randomly, apropos of nothing, said, "Oh, scientists proved that Hitler had one bollock." And I said, no, they didn't. Obviously, they didn't. What the fuck are you talking about? And it was an actual story. A blood stain of incredibly dubious provenance was proven to have some disease in it which causes malformation of the genitals, apparently, is the thing, right? And this was apparently Hitler's blood. A load of rubbish, right? And so we were doing jokes about, like, well, who cares about his genitals, really? Like, if he'd had normal bollocks, it wouldn't have made him a better person. Like,
exactly.
his balls were not the issue. Like, it made sense for them at the time to take the piss and do the funny, joke song about it because they were living through him bombing them. The least they could do is have a laugh at his cock and balls or whatever, right? But now, who cares, right? Anyway, and so someone said, oh, Nigel Farage's only got one bollock. I went, shut the fuck up. No, he hasn't. And it turns out he has. Turns out, and the description of it, I laughed so hard I nearly died, right? Was that in 1986 he had a some sort of testicular cancer thing. And it said that one of his testicles was the size of a lemon and rock hard.
Incredible scenes.
Now that is one hell of a description of a testicle.
Oh my god!
And then
You know what?
someone reworked the Hitler song from Hitler's only got one ball, the other is in the Albert Hall, to Farage has only got one ball, the other is in a greengrocer's stall. Of an audience of Shakespearean wordsmiths.
Honestly, you really, really do. You really, really do.
So,
God.
well, you're right with hopefully the future Prime Minister of this country. I was talking about Nigel Farage's bollock. Oh no!
Oh, that's so good.
Oh no!
Oh,
Right-wing
scenes,
bollocks.
incredible scenes. There was one thing I was wanted to mention before we got onto question time, but I think I've forgotten what I was going to say.
So the Chancellor had her moment in the sun, and
It was incredible.
Gone very well. I think we can all agree. Superbly done.
What was really interesting is that all of the papers and the press going mad about this tax and spend budget, and it was just nothing. It was a total nothing burger.
Yeah, it was literally nothing.
Gigantic nothing burger. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't even a tax and spend budget. It was a tax and have some more fiscal headroom budget. That's all it was.
Yeah, basically, yeah. It was pretty. I mean, it was the absolute archetype of what this government is: tinkering at the edges.
Yep.
Even at their best, they're tinkering at the edges.
I just want to say thank you to Ron Last for the 20 gifties. And thank you to the Jack Mellor for £20 of super chatting.
Nice.
Speaking of the public realm, there's a guy in Question Time tonight who says, "Not in 40 years has business confidence been this low." And I'm like, yeah, that's what's been leaving and not having an active state for 40 years does to your country. I mean, is business confidence lower now than it was during this trust? I don't think that's true.
No, or during COVID,
Mm.
when literally no one was going to work.
Yeah, very strange.
It's just not true. Thank you, Fosmos, for gifting a sub, and then thank you, Swirly Curly, for 5 gifties. We're on a hype train. If we get to the next level of the hype train, I will finger Nigel Farage's remaining healthy testicle.
But yes, I'm going to pop my Twitch link in the YouTube chat. If you're watching on YouTube, please click the link and come and watch on Twitch, because we can't stream Question Time to YouTube, especially not the day after when it's definitely been uploaded to their copyright bank. So please come to Twitch, where they don't care about us engaging in copyright infringement. Click the link in chat so that we can do the Question Time thing.
Well, I'm going to remain on YouTube because, I mean, literally, the video we're watching is on YouTube. So it'd be very annoying if it got fucking flagged for when it's literally a YouTube video. But anyway, yeah. So right, yes. Question time from the salubrious location of Watford, which is like, imagine if they made a road lay-by into a place that people lived.
I mean, that seems to be everywhere in the country now at this point. The country's just been the areas of this country that aren't just like central London have just been London have just been stripped back to the point where they are just like, you know, lay-bys. All the shops are fucking shut, haven't they?
It's Milton Keynes as an island, which is ironic because a lot of traffic islands there as well.
It's true. Do you know Milton Keynes has the highest level of resident satisfaction of any city in the country? It's mad.
True, but that's like, I'm sure Cancer thinks of itself as quite good as well. You know, like, it's the old joke about, you know, I live on the south bank of the Thames because it's the only place you can't see the south bank from.
I've never heard that one before. That's great.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm being slightly rude. Milton Keynes is actually fine. It's very obviously like designed. It's not a naturally developed place as such. Anyway.
I mean, no, it's an example of a very planned city. You know,
Yep.
It's very Soviet in terms of its construction.
What's the point of that? What you need is higgledy-piggledy nonsense that fucking people 2,000 years ago went, I'll just build a house here, and now it's one of the major thoroughfares of a world city.
Yeah, it's like just giant fucking urban sprawl forever. And, you know, and honestly, I it's what's interesting, right? Is like the planned cities of Eastern Europe that were built by the Soviets. They're the kind of the most prosperous areas now. Now these places have become capitalistic.
Because
quite interesting.
they're efficient for a start, yeah, because they were built.
Well, yeah, they are efficient.
They were built for the thing. I mean, there was some fantastic examples after the Great Fire of London of plans that were put together to rebuild London, because basically London was fucking destroyed. On the grid system, Wren had this amazing idea of building it in a spiral, like a kind of shell kind of shape. And London went, we've got no fucking money, so everyone just has to build their house exactly where it was, which is why it's the weird shit shape that it is now.
Yeah.
Same as it was for the last 2,000 years, basically. Mental.
Absolutely. Anyway, I've put the Twitch link in YouTube chat. Everyone come across. I'm gonna end my YouTube stream now, and we can watch some question time.
Okie doke. Yes, without further ado.
For tonight's question time, we've come to Watford in Hertfordshire. Our audience, as always, every week, reflects the electoral picture across the nation. Welcome to Question Time on the BBC News Channel.
I know for a fact, Fogel, you did not just call Britain a weird shit shape. Austria is shaped like a fat sperm. Shut up. Literally shut up.
I mean, like, I don't think you can call Britain a weird shape when Croatia exists.
Well, that's just mental. Someone took a big pizza wedge out of a normal-shaped country.
And what's great is that it entirely wraps around Bosnia-Herzegovina, so that they take all the fucking coastline.
Yeah, and then brilliantly, do you remember when the no bitches meme was going around on Twitter and stuff, the Megamind thing? But the Croatian national account added the Bosnia-Herzegovina account with no beaches.
Beaches. They have one beach. They have one very singular beach. Like it's like you can cut between like where Dubrovnik wraps around Bosnia and just before you get to so Dubrovnik is the part where the beach is. And there's one Bosnian beach between the exclave of Dubrovnik and where Croatia starts again. It's called Neum. There's the Neum beach in Bosnia. That is it.
Neum isn't that the south? Isn't that the Saudi Arabian fake line city?
That's Neom.
Oh, as well. There you go.
Air and sounds. On the panel from the government, James Murray, Chief Secretary to the
Talking of Megamind, hello.
True.
Treasury and one of the architects of yesterday's budget. Gareth Davis is a shadow Treasury Minister. He was an investment banker before entering politics.
Literally the most worthless human being.
What was his name again?
Gareth. Was it Gareth Davis? He sounded like someone who's got one cap for Wales.
Gareth Davis is a shadow.
Yeah, there you go.
Fucking, of course, he's an investment banker. And whoa. Oh, State Comprehensive and University of Nottingham. Well, what is it like that? That is a turnout for the books.
Well, there you go. A working class, or at least not upper class, briefcase cunt. Brilliant.
Investment bank.
Brilliant.
Jason, let's look at James Murray, MP. He was St Paul's School, Selective Independent Day School, and he went to Wadham College, Oxford, to do PPE. So the Labour politician is posher than the Tory politician. Welcome to 2025, chat.
The most pointless selection of human beings ever in existence. Honestly, they need to. Anyone who applies to do PPE goes in the wood chipper. It's just for the best. Like, some innocents will get dealt with, unfortunately, but it's for the greater good. The greater good.
Also, it's worth pointing out one of the other panelists is Sonia Soda. She went to private school and also did PPE at Oxford. So, like, the whole of the supposedly left wing, i.e., centrist part of the panel, are both people who went to private school in Oxford, and the supposedly right wing part went to state schools and not Oxford. Brilliant, great, love this country.
Treasury Minister. He was an investment banker before entering politics and is a champion of Thatcherite ideals in the Conservative Party. Callum Miller is a Liberal.
Unlike all those people who hate Margaret Thatcher in the Conservative Party, of course. But that really levels it. He's such an individual. He's a rebel, that guy, isn't he?
Democrat spokesperson on foreign affairs, and he ran Nick Clegg's private office during his time as Deputy Prime Minister. Sonia Soda is a columnist.
By the way,
and...
pause.
So that man is bathed in the blood of the poor. Cool, good.
Yes. Can you? I will give you one singular guess of the university and the degree that Callum Miller did.
I think he went to the University of Oxford and he did PPE.
He did do Oxford. He did do PPE at Oxford. Yeah. Can't find out his.
Look, all I'm saying is the PPE to wood chipper pipeline that I've suggested remains 100%. Okay, not one person who's applied to do PPE is anything other than scum.
I hate it.
Broadcaster who's written for The Guardian, The Observer and The Times. She was also a senior advisor to Ed Miliband when he was leader of the opposition. And Luke Johnson is an entrepreneur who's developed well-known brands including Pizza Express, Patisserie Valerie and Gale's Bakery. He's known for his outspoken views on regulation, net zero and what he calls Britain's lost culture of enterprise.
I don't think there's one redeeming person on that panel.
They're literally all vermin. And the most left-wing one is Sonia Soda, who is somebody who literally cannot speak about anything left-wing because she's too busy talking about how much she hates trans people.
Yeah. So the best person on the panel is Turfy McTurferson. Kill me in Minecraft.
But also, chat. I will give you one guess as to the university that the person.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Oxford needs to be ground into the dust and used as kitty litter. It's a fucking disgrace. It's a factory of cunts.
The thing is, I don't even mind having Oxford and Cambridge as these strong institutions of higher learning.
No, because they produce the worst human beings on the earth.
Oh, they should just be banned from political influence, right? They should be banned from talking about politics, banned forever. Like, you can go there, spend your money, whatever. It's an institution of higher learning that makes us it's the jewel in the crown internationally, and it spits out smart people in some cases. But you need to ban PPE. PPE should be banned forever, and anyone who goes to Oxford should be banned from politics.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Yeah, that's cool.
This guy went to a state school, so we have two right-wingers who went to state school. We have two lefties, quote unquote, i.e. not actually that left wing, but whatever, who both went to private school and Oxford. We have a centrist who went to private school and Oxford. I hate this country. I hate everything about it. I want to go and commit seppuku in Minecraft.
This is honestly, it's depressing. Because this thing is, this isn't even the worst of it. Like, if this was the worst panel they ever put together, you'd be like, okay, it's bad, but whatever. But this is mid. This is mid-evil.
Also, it's worth pointing out that the Mr. Johnson's dad, but I think he's also Paul Johnson, is a British journalist and historian and speechwriter who went to Jesuit independent school and also went to Oxford. So
Did you say Jesuit?
yeah,
Do you mean Jesuit?
Jesuit. Why don't I fucking pronounce that shit?
Well, it's
Jesuit, whatever.
It's a weird Catholic thing.
Yeah, and that they also went. So he's the son of somebody who went to Oxford, who also went to Oxford,
Fair enough.
and a celebrity. Like the son of a celebrity became a rich past person. Wow, what a surprise! I'm really shocked.
Well, there you go.
Good evening. Welcome to our panellists here in Watford. Welcome to our audience. Very good to see you, and welcome to you at home. Do join in the conversation on social media, or just sit back on your sofa and watch the programme, whichever takes your fancy. Let's take our first question, which is from Emma Duke Cohen.
You're quite right. Eleanor is adorable. Yeah. Sorry. Go on. My chat are very. They love your continental pronunciation. Anyway, so you've got this person who is. I mean, is that a Christy Winter blonde cosplay situation? I don't know.
With Rachel Reeves taxing everything and everybody in sight, what is the point of working hard and being aspirational?
Right, so you sound pretty fed.
Yeah, she's taxing everything in sight. Get wrecked.
With a very small tax change. Like, again, like I hate this narrative where when you're taxed to smithereens. I'm like, tax takes a percentage of GDP is like 38, 39%. It's like more than 10% lower than France. Like, come on,
Yeah.
get some real problems. I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
On top of this, like,
Get up,
what's the
Emma.
point? What's the point in working? Because you make more money.
Yeah, like you
Because
don't.
some-
Yeah, don't then. Like to those people, if you don't want to be aspirate, don't then. Live in poverty. See how you fucking enjoy it, you cunts. Like, what are you talking about? You work hard because you don't want to live in poverty. The fact that the Chancellor is taking an extra tuppence off you is irrelevant to that.
And it also means that you will get more public services back from the extra tax that you pay. Like, that's the whole point of taxation. The idea that somehow because you're working, that money just fucking disappears into the ether. No, like, the public realm expands and you get to use it.
And even if you go private, the people who live around you don't. And trust me, you don't want them descending into anarchy, because that will make you a lot poorer.
No, it's fine. Like, I don't want to pay to stop homeless people living on the street. I love it when I see homeless people in the street. It makes my country just much more vibrant place to live.
I like Warren Buffett's description of it. He said, I don't mind paying taxes. I consider it an insurance policy against guillotines.
Yeah, literally.
Fair point, actually.
With the budget, which we heard only yesterday. James, obviously I'm going to come to you, but I'm just going to go around the panel a little bit first. Luke, what's the point of working hard and being aspirational? That's what Emma thinks.
Yeah, it's very depressing, isn't it, Emma? And I'm afraid this was a...
You could always play Minecraft. If that's depressing, mate. Or just wait for the Angel of Death's bill to pass, and they'll let you do it anyway.
budget for people who receive welfare and benefits and not for working people, which I thought the Labour Party was for. The truth is they've increased taxes, they are increasing debt, they're increasing unemployment.
See, I would now boycott Gale's Bakery if I knew what that was.
I think it's Greg's for posh people.
Oh, okay.
That's basically what it is. But what's so frustrating, right? This idea that it was for benefits rather than work. It was mostly for fiscal headroom, not for benefits. And second of all, 40% of people who claim universal credit are in work. This is what's so frustrating, right? Is that if you are one of the wankers who live in our media ecosystem, you don't know this because you don't know anyone on benefits. You don't know anyone on low pay. Because if you did, you'd know that people on low pay have to claim help from the state. And it's wankers like this bellend who own the businesses, who are extracting far more surplus value from their workers than is ever being taken in tax, who are paying people so low that they have to claim universal credit on their low wages. Like, you are the ones being subsidized by the state, not benefit scroungers.
Yeah.
And things feel pretty bleak. I cannot remember a time in 40 years in business in this country where investors and entrepreneurs and employers are as demoralized as they are.
Oh no, won't someone think of the entrepreneur? Well, you know what they could do? Pull themselves up by their bootstraps.
They could. I think it's inward investment to this country is higher than it was under austerity. Like the big thing that you saw from the austerity period was a massive dearth of private investment because they couldn't see a return. Because what were they going to make a return on when people can't spend any money, right? Minimum wage is going up. The people with the highest propensity for consumption are going to see their incomes increase, and that's going to be able to put more money into people buying the shit that these people want to sell.
Marxists are taking over America.
Thank you.
That's on the soundboard.
Love it.
And the idea that this government, they said their priority was growth. There is no growth. There's only spending and more borrowing and higher taxes and higher regulation. And this will not have a good ending. It's not how prosperous and happy society...
I know how I want your ending to go.
True!
Peacefully, at the ripe old age, in good health, etc. Well, not good health, because that would be negate. Hey, I don't know that you could be a healthy dead person. No matter how healthy you were, you're now dead, is the point.
Societies become that way. And the government needs to think a lot harder about spending our taxpayer money wisely and not disproportionately burdening us with tax and regulation and gloom.
What would you like to have seen?
I would have liked to have seen, for example, a wholesale rethink of our disastrous energy policies. We have the highest energy costs.
So he's a freak. Why is he on the panel? Why is he here?
The irony is, of course, is that he isn't wrong in the abstract. We do have bad energy policy. We do have the highest energy costs of any kind of major economy, especially for industrial energy.
Right, but he thinks it's down to net stupid zero.
Well, yeah, he does, right? That's where he becomes wrong. And in fact, it is the total opposite. Is the fact that our country is entirely dependent on low gas prices, which will never last forever. Well, they didn't last forever because look what happened after the war in Ukraine. Rather than be entirely reliant on ourselves by having homegrown, home-owned power. The issue is the government aren't putting enough investment into clean power, and they're not putting enough public ownership into clean power. They're doing public-private partnerships, which will rely on market incentives to invest, rather than what we could have, which was state-owned energy, which we can maximize the low cost of energy, because it doesn't matter whether it turns a profit or not. We can have energy abundance, which will reach a point with private investment where they don't think they'll make a return and they'll stop investing. That's why Ørsted didn't build a big wind farm off the coast of Norfolk, at the last round of contracts for clean energy.
Thanks, Rafe.
And much appreciated, Rafe. And so that's a problem with energy privatization and the incentivization of gas power because of marginal cost pricing. These are all things that we could fix if we had the political will to do so. We just don't.
True. And yeah, him talking about things being too expensive and all the rest of it. You know, they charge $5 for a sausage roll at Gale's Bakery.
A $5? A $5?
A full bluey, a 5-piece.
What?
For a fucking sausage roll. Yeah, there's a reason I've never heard of it or shopped there in my fucking life. I would literally rather starve to death than fucking eat a $5's hot. No, that's not. That is immoral to charge that amount.
Whoa! Hang on a minute, chat. This is obscene. I'm sorry. Chocolate almond croissant, £4. Christmas bun, £4.60. 8 cinnamon buns, £28.
Fuck off.
I'm
See, this is the thing.
moment.
Anyone who can afford to do that, can afford to eat that kind of food, needs to be taxed so much higher than they currently are. That's ridiculous.
Greek yogurt with blueberry and blackcurrant compote, £4.50. Breakfast pot bundle, £54.
Oh, what the fuck is? Unless that's an ocean of porridge. What the fuck is that? £54 for breakfast. You're mental.
I had a meltdown on stream, Kev. This wasn't when you were here, but it's worth pointing out. I had a meltdown on stream where they brought some fish and chip shop owner onto Politics Live to complain about business taxes, right? She was not a fish and chip shop owner, Kevin. She was someone who owned a posh fish and chip restaurant chain.
Okay.
And she charged, wait for this, £22 for fish and chips.
I presume
£22.
I presume the fish in question was some sort of whale for that for £22.
For 22, it was cod chips. All it was cod and chips, right? And I want to point out to people, one thing you keep hearing from these kind of sectors is we can't afford to not charge this because we've got high staff costs. Greggs the bakers charge £1.40 for a sausage roll.
Yeah.
They charge £2 for a steak bake. Pound Bakery charges even less. But you know, for all of Greggs' problems, at the very least, they're an expanding chain with good profit margins who have employee share ownership packages and a generous bonus for staff at Christmas, right? Like, they're not a bad employer, to say the least, right? They don't cut back in terms of giving back to their staff. If they can do it, fucking Gales can, without charging £5 for a fucking sausage roll.
That's mental, yeah. A whale is a mammal. No, it isn't. It's a bird. Shut the fuck up. Animals are all fake. They're all dickheads.
And like, when I was working in Salford, the Pound Bakery, it was 2 sausage rolls for £1. 2 sausage rolls for £1. And Gales want to charge a £5. Fuck off.
Mental.
For business of any comparable country, net zero is destroying our manufacturing industry. And without a manufacturing industry, we can never defend ourselves because we'll have no defence industry.
Sonia.
So I think what we saw in the budget was a product of the fact that growth is looking extremely sluggish, as Luke just said. Unfortunately, this is a long-term issue in the British economy. So I think 2008, the financial crisis, really exposed the lack of productivity in the British economy in areas other than the city and financial services. And since, living standards have been pretty much stagnant since 2008, and that impacts on each and every person in this audience. And it's why things feel really hard and people feel like they don't have much money left over at the end of the month. I think Labour's mistake was to go into the last election saying, vote for us and we'll fix it all within 5 years and things will be feeling great. I, as somebody on the centre-left, saw them say that.
You're not, and they didn't. They said basically nothing.
Yeah.
And any policies they actually did have, they've gone back on, including the workers' rights from day one thing, which is now going to be 6 months.
That's the second manifesto break in a week.
Interesting that. Also interesting that the TUC have agreed to this. I wonder if the current head of the TUC is going to get a knighthood very soon.
Yeah, it was, and also weird that someone who was part of the TUC put out a really big statement attacking the Green Party. Usdaw. And Usdaw, like the union that backed Gerard Coyne for the Unite membership.
Interesting.
Usdaw, the one that backed Keir Starmer for the leadership.
And thought that's not a great promise to make, because you don't look at where the British economy is and fix that within 18 months or even 5 years. So what we saw in the budget was Rachel Reeves thinking that she wants to do these extra things. Personally, I do really support lifting the 2-child benefit cap, because over the last 15 years...
And now Labour are all like, see, we're lifting kids out of poverty. Forgetting, of course, that they've kept them in that poverty for 18 months.
Exactly.
Thanks.
We have seen child poverty go up in this country at a rate much faster than in other OECD and EU countries. And that is something we have to address. But the problem is, because we're not growing, there isn't money around to fix it. And that's why taxes had to go up. And that is really difficult. And it's difficult for everyone in this audience. What I wish, and I think this is true of both Labour and the Conservatives, is that we have political parties who are more honest and went into the last election saying, things are really tough. There are tough trade-offs here. If we want to be a country that doesn't send kids to school hungry, if we want a great NHS, we are going to have to pay for it, and that involves some difficult trade-offs. And I think that's kind of where Labour went wrong, because they didn't tell us about these trade-offs before the election, but sure enough, they are here and we're facing them.
Not wrong.
Yeah, the problem with what Sonia's just said is that this budget and the previous budget contain a load of measures that will massively hamper growth. It's going to reduce tax take overall, more people are going to be unemployed, and it's going to make things worse.
What's he referring to here?
Yeah,
like, what have they done that's anti-growth?
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
I don't know, honestly.
Probably even increase child poverty.
Okay, man in the blue shirt.
Yes. Getting rid of the 2-child benefit cap will definitely increase child poverty, and I definitely believe that you want to reduce child poverty.
True.
We have to, as households, budget with prudence, which...
Oh,
Gordon Brown-
fucking kill me! In Minecraft! Mate.
I'm literally... Yeah, just,
Well, you know what he's going to say. You know what he's going to fucking say. We have to do it in the household budget, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I'm sorry, does your fucking kitchen have its own fucking bank?
Are you David Cameron in disguise? Gonna come here and, like, tell the king to say we need to live within our means whilst he sits in a fucking golden throne?
Yeah. Jesus Christ. I'm sorry, mate. Unless you can produce your own money, your analogy is bollocks.
No, his house, it has an actual bank that does bond issuance. That's the thing that it does.
Oh, fair enough. That's fair enough.
Brown was very much about. The present government seems to have
Sometimes
no
maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
taxpayers' money, as though it's going to be a constant flow.
And what would you rather have seen?
It is a
Less on
constant
welfare
flow.
benefit, for
I would
example?
like to see.
Yeah,
It is a constant
It
flow.
literally is. Yeah, it literally is.
Well,
Yeah.
The irony, of course, is that the thing that is a constant flow and will continue to be a constant flow forever until a government changes course and takes and grasps the nettle on this is the fucking state pension that motherfucker takes from the rest of us.
Yep. Thank you, this sick guy, for becoming a member on the YouTubes. Much love.
And again, before we get mad at me again, no, I don't want to get rid of the state pension. I don't want to means test the state pension. I don't want to stop the state pension rising. I just think it needs to rise in line with wages like everybody else.
And
that's literally
like,
it. That's literally it.
I don't want to get rid of the triple lock because I don't think we need to do that. I don't think, for me, the reason I engage in generational politics is because there's clearly and obviously a gap, right? If you look at the way in which the different generations vote, it's pretty obvious how that breaks down. But I don't want to impoverish elderly people. I was as disgusted as anyone else that they were taking away the fucking... they were trying to means test the winter fuel benefits and all the rest of it. We have enough money to be able to afford all of these things. The thing that's very annoying is having dickheads like this guy here who gets paid a fucking gold-plated pension that you or I, in a different generation, have absolutely no access to, and they keep increasing the fucking retirement age, so you're basically going to be dead before you even get to the fucking national retirement age anyway, because it's going to be above the national fucking life expectancy at some point, right? And these dickheads keep voting for all of these policies. So I'm sorry, if you're going to do austerity, have some. Have a slice of your own fucking cake.
It's so true. It's so true. What I will say is that the difference between the winter fuel allowance and the triple lock is the winter fuel allowance was a cut. It took money away from people. Getting rid of the triple lock doesn't take money away from people. It just means that it rises less quickly.
Yeah.
And I think, let me try and sell you this. Let me try and sell you on this.
Go on then.
The political economy that I justify changing the triple lock to rising with wages is it changes the incentive structure of how people vote and how people look at their interests in terms of who they elect in terms of policy. Because at the moment, pensioners don't have to care about what happens with a triple lock. They know it's going to go up regardless of what happens with anything else in society and by the rate that is most convenient to them. So when they vote, all they're looking at is the asset values because they're more likely to be asset holders, more likely to have pension assets, financial assets, and houses than everybody else, like than the working age people. They're much more likely to. So when they vote, that's all they're thinking about is asset prices. If you change the triple lock so that, or you change the state pension by getting rid of the triple lock, so instead of it pegged to inflation or wages or 2.5%, it's pegged specifically to wages. The incentive structure changes and is flipped on its head. They have to start thinking about how they vote for policies that affect the state pension, and they're now incentivized to vote for policies that increases wages for everybody else at the same time as well. And also on top of this, it means that the main thing that will fund the state pension, which is income tax, will already be proportionately rising as the state pension does, because income tax is the biggest thing that contributes towards taxation. And if wages go up, income taxes go up, you can afford more state pension as that increases too. So I think that this is a really big political choice that would change, that suddenly pensioners go, oh, I don't want my state pension to go down. I'm going to vote for all of these policies that push wages up for everybody else as well. And then you've got this concordant policy interest of working people and retired people, rather than this really discordant one where working people want higher wages and retired people want bigger assets. Do you see my point?
I see exactly your point. The problem is the political reality of it. The reason that no one's going to touch that triple lock is because you're going to get absolutely savaged.
I mean, that's true. That's true.
The vast majority of elderly people vote. They are the largest political cohort in that respect, and so no one's going to touch it.
I think Jordan makes a good point as well, is that if you peg it to inflation, it means that you can encourage retired people to vote for reckless policies that are incredibly inflationary, because they know they'll be protected, yet young workers and savers will not be protected, and they'll have a... Because remember, if all you get is a state pension, right, like, you may be not in a good place if you don't have a private pension, or you don't get pension credit or housing benefit, which pensioners can still claim, both of those things, to top up their pension if they're poor, right? But if you're relying on just the state pension, then like you haven't had a cost of living crisis. You may have bad cost of living outcomes, right? But the cost of living crisis is specifically the difference between the increase in prices and people's overall income, right? There was a cost of living crisis for working people because prices were rising higher than wages. So your spending power went down. If your spending power as a pensioner is pegged to prices, there wasn't a cost of living crisis. You may have had a poor cost of living, poor standard of living, because you were poor, right? I'm not saying that's not true, but the specific mechanic of the cost of living crisis, where prices rise more than income, did not exist for pensioners.
Yeah,
because their income was pegged to prices.
Okay, I'm not going to let you get away with saying pegging that many times. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
You need to peg pensioners.
Yeah,
pensioners
exactly.
need to get pegged.
You know what? I'm on board. I'm on board. That should be front and centre. Hypno boob and pensioner pegging. Hang on.
Slapping fannies and killing grannies.
Less on welfare. I also think we need to think about the pension scheme for the civil servants. I used to have a defined benefit. I lost that 15 years ago, but we're seeing defined benefits still within pretty much the whole of government.
Literally, fucking race to the bottom. Race to the bottom.
Listen, you're all sitting there, and
no, how about you get your defined benefit scheme back?
Yeah. Well, I got fucked over, so everyone else should too.
I hate this, and that's the serious I'm thinking for all of his generation, like, who are right wing. Like, I'm not saying that it's everybody, because there are plenty of people from that generation who are not right wing, right?
Bollocks.
Most of them watch my stream, and I love you. But you will have to admit, from every single statistic about how these people vote, this is the attitude of the vast majority of pensioners, given how many of them vote Tory.
Yeah.
And it's just entirely race to the bottom. Also, thank you, John and Nerdy Rowan, for the Prime subs. Appreciate the support.
I know that you submitted a pile of questions about this high on the budget, so get your hands up and I will come round to you. But James, so you're getting criticism from right and left here. We've only heard from two people so far, but they're not, and Emma, and they're not particularly happy.
Well, let me start with what we were trying to achieve with the budget.
Shade on Emma, by the way. We've heard from two people and Emma. Okay. Whoa. What fucking species is she then?
No, well, Kev, you should know, right? The TERFs have taught us this. Women aren't people.
No, they're adult human chickens.
Exactly, they're not people. If you call a woman a person, they will get fucking furious at you. It's like there's two people and then a woman. Women aren't people. It's just the reality.
Exactly.
But if you think that women are people, you just don't understand sexuality and sexual dimorphism.
Quite clearly. Anyway, so there've been two people and an ovulator. Good.
Budget, and then explain why we took some of the decisions that we took. What the Chancellor was trying to achieve with the budget when she set it out in the House of Commons this week was to cut the cost of living, to cut NHS waiting lists.
Oh
and
God, he sounds so briefcase. Even if I couldn't see him, I'd think he looks a bit like he looks. He sounds like a failed orgasm.
A sentient briefcase is really... He's just a briefcase come to life. He literally is that.
Yeah.
Cut government borrowing. Those were our priorities going into the budget because we think they're priorities for the country. And, you know, we need to be honest that the challenges we face are large. There is instability around the world, which we know has been growing over the course of the last year. But also, as Sonia referred to, there are some long-term challenges when it comes to productivity in our country. And the report that the Office of Budget Responsibility put out alongside the budget shows the impact on productivity from the previous government. So the result of all of the austerity and the way Brexit was mishandled and so on, that's had a lasting impact on our productivity.
I want to give him what for back. They don't want the referees. I would speak to Ronaldo, Messi.
Yeah. What happened there?
I mean, yeah, like, turns out we're not actually doing that, because it turns out a lot of these things didn't work for an import-dependent service economy, and we are like £90 billion worse off because of it.
True.
And what's your
Growth
fix?
forecast and therefore...
I don't know. Nothing, basically.
Tax revenue. So we had to take some choices going into this budget. Now, we could have gone down the route of uncontrolled borrowing, but we're not going to do that. we could have gone down the route of slashing investment in infrastructure, all the investment we're putting into energy and transport and research and development. But we decided not to do that because...
You could have gone down the route of raising income tax.
Because one of the reasons why we're in such a difficult place as a country in terms of productivity is because there hasn't been that investment for so many years. So that's why we took some fair, some necessary decisions when it comes to taxation
But
to
hang
make
on a
sure
sec,
that the
because
budget
you could have,
balances.
James, forgive you interrupted, but you could have raised income tax. You've got the Resolution Foundation saying actually that would have raised more money and been fairer. But you'd boxed yourself into a corner.
Well, what we did in the budget when it comes to our decisions on tax was that, yes, we asked everyone to make a contribution. The extension of the thresholds, freezes, that's not something we hid away in the budget. The Chancellor said that up front, that we're asking everyone to make a contribution. But we are keeping that contribution from working people as low as we possibly can by taking other choices about where to raise tax revenue, whether that's from income from property or savings or dividends, income from people who have homes worth £2 million or more, income from the gambling sector. We took those decisions to keep the taxes on working people as low as possible. And if I can just say that, because of the decisions we took in the budget, what we were able to do on cutting the cost of living is take £150 off people's energy bills, freeze rail fares, freeze prescription charges. When it comes to the NHS, we're able to keep cutting waiting lists. There have been 5.2 million extra appointments already this year, and we've announced plans for 250 neighbourhood health centres. And crucially, we've been able to cut government borrowing.
Has there been any clapping? So no, not a single set of hands has come together.
I think irony, of course, is this is the sensible, like, centre-right European conservative politics that the country keeps telling us that they want, right? Yeah. Like, normal stuff of we want to ensure that we maximise productivity and we're going to ensure that we get borrowing overall down and we have a health sector that is functioning. Like, none of this is radical this is just what a centre-right government that was honest with the public would do in any normal European country. Except we don't live in a normal European country. We live in fucking normal Ireland.
True. Yeah, the only thing that's been clapping have been my fucking cheeks as I twerk. All right.
It's true. Oh no, you clap. Well, maybe the clapping cheeks is the billionaires and the corporations. Fuck us, and I do not get opposed by this government.
True.
Because at the moment.
Yeah, no. Well, we say they doesn't get opposed. They ask them, "Would you like some lubricant?"
It's just
£1 in a.
Go on.
I just what the thing is, what's interesting is that he's not wrong in saying that they did tax gambling and the mansion tax, right? And most of that covered the cost of the removal of the 2-child cap on universal credit.
Yeah.
All of the taxes that were put on quote-unquote working people, that all went to increasing the fiscal headroom.
Yeah, pretty much.
Every 10 of taxpayers' money is spent on servicing the interest on debt. Just the interest on debt, 1 in every £10 of taxpayers' money. We want to change that so that taxpayers' money can be spent on schools, police, hospitals, on your priorities.
So people here should be pretty pleased with the budget then?
No, well, no. Wait for the.
So let's see if they are.
Okay.
Yes.
Wait for the clapping to die down. You can't ask him a question straight away. You're being drowned out by all. I mean, that woman is literally either asleep or dead. So fucking pointless was that answer.
Woman in the white shirt.
I suppose my concern is that I feel like there's been no immediate relief for what the Labour talk about the working person. I describe myself as that. I think I do okay. I'm not hard up. I wouldn't mind things like lifting the 2-child benefit cap, but really when I look at the budget, I don't see anything that benefits me immediately in the short term, and that's quite disappointing.
All right. Man in the... no, it's actually, I'll come to you in a minute. There's a man with the black top on first, further back.
Yeah, I just feel we're in a vicious circle and don't feel like we're kind of going to get out of this because there's nothing in the budget which is going to really drive productivity or economic growth. So we really need to kind of find ways and mechanisms to kind of get ourselves out of this.
Okay, and yes, the man here towards the front, yeah.
Yeah, so that is really explaining my fear as well. The autumn 2024 budget was a budget for growth. Growth was very anemic. This budget is also supposed to be delivering growth, but when we look at the OBR forecast, very little growth coming out of this budget as well.
The OBR needs to be destroyed.
It really does. I mean, like, who knows? It's a fucking random prediction that they've made based upon nothing. Like, most of their growth downgrade was because they think that it's going to be a more turbulent international market, which it probably will be. But how do you know how much growth that's going to mean? That anything could happen. There could be a productivity gain out of nowhere. There could be a massive fucking exogenous shock that changes all of this. It's nonsense making these stupid predictions and having the fiscal rules be set on those predictions as well. Waste of everyone's fucking time. Waste of everyone's energy. And all it does is just put more doom and gloom into the economy, which ironically will reduce growth in the long term, you know?
Also, why have they got Guy Gomer in to ask a question?
So where do we go? Because we know that growth is the only way out of this doom loop we're in, and the growth is not coming. So it looks like next year we'll be coming back for more tax increases to fund.
So I'm going to come to you both in a minute, but let's just talk about growth for a minute, because the Office of Budget Responsibility could not find an increase in growth by a single measure. I mean,
But they could find half an hour to leak the information before the budget was announced. So that's nice. Good
Adults.
For them. Yeah, adults in the room. Also, like, let's be honest, it's clearly the OBR that wrote the fucking thing. So had she technically, did they release it half an hour before she was allowed to see it? Is that how it works? I don't know anymore.
It's going to increase this year and then keep on going down. This was a central mission of the Labour government. Where is it?
Well, this year's growth forecast has been revised upwards by the OBR. So
And
the
then-
OBR,
then
Hang on,
downwards
let me
thereafter.
explain this, because the growth forecast that the OBR said was going to happen this year was 1%. We've outperformed those expectations. It's now 1.5%. In future years, we were talking about...
So you mean the prediction that they made in the past was wrong? They're always fucking wrong.
Every time.
Why are we listening to these series of dickheads with their, I don't even know, reading the chicken entrails for the signs of the future, or the magic 8-ball that they're using? I don't know what strategy, but they're just guessing, throwing fucking darts at a board and guess, oh, it's 2% growth. There you go. Like, who knows?
Why not?
Honestly, the day they hit the triple fucking 20, 180% growth doesn't make any sense.
And also, if you really want
the productivity.
If you really want to look at a measure that's impacting overall productive capacity and is going to negatively impact growth, is the fact that net immigration was down to 200k.
Yeah.
One of the biggest increases in productive capacity over the last fucking 15 years has been the increase in labour capacity, because we have more people here working and paying taxes and producing products. If we hadn't had immigration during this period, we would have been in permanent recession.
Although, much like his hairline. Because he's receding hairline anyway. Yeah, the interesting that the numbers have gone down to 200,000, because has the fear of immigration and the amount we talk about it gone down over that same period, or is it massively increased, completely at odds with the reality of the situation?
Because the problem is people think that the immigrants are responsible for the low growth when the opposite is true, right? In that they're basically the only things stopping us from being in permanent recession during the austerity period, right? Yeah. I think that'll get fixed somewhat by the government actually borrowing to spend on any infrastructure at all, which is far more sensible as the centre-right government of the day than the previous fucking crackpot nonsense right-wing clusterfuck of the Osborne administration, you know? But that still means we're going to not have the labour capacity that we would do if we did have the immigration they've now cut.
Yeah.
Challenge, which the OBR have highlighted, having built up under the previous government, that affects the productivity in the country and that determines the forecast. But we are not going to let this country be defined by the failures of the previous government.
So how do you justify...
We're going to make our own failures. Fuck yes.
How do you justify the budget?
Oh.
They heard Luke's criticisms. The OBR says there is not a single individual measure in this budget expected to materially increase economic growth. How is that anything other than utterly disappointing?
So the OBR have a threshold for individual measures, and without going into the technical detail of what that means in practice, I would point you to certain key measures in the budget which will help growth. Number one, I spoke earlier about investment in energy, in roads, in railways, in research and development. That investment is crucial to leveraging in private investment, to improving our productivity, and to helping to get growth up in our country. We also introduced tax breaks for companies who are scaling up and growing and want to stay in the UK and make a success here. Those tax incentives to make sure those businesses stay and grow here. And we're also making sure that focus on creating growth is in every part of the UK. So whether that's in Grangemouth in Scotland, Wilfer in Wales, whether that's the Oxford-Cambridge Growth Corridor or the Northern Growth Corridor, right across Britain, because the only way to make sure that people in every part of the country feel the benefits of growth is to have that growth in every part of the UK, so that people right across the country feel better off.
And how, tell us, is the Employment Rights Bill going to help growth? It's unquestionably going to damage it. I see it every day with business people I talk to. It's all putting them off staying here. There is a huge, unprecedented exodus of talent and wealth and capital leaving the country because they are so put off by your obsession.
Okay, and where's the patriotism there? Aren't we being told that we need to be patriotic? No? Helena? Hello. Oh, okay, I'll reload, hang on.
Wait a moment, chat.
There you go.
Can you hear me now?
I can now hear you, yes.
So you two can reshare the window. Cheers.
Yeah. Apologies. Yes, you were probably trying to interrupt me. I couldn't hear you.
No, I was gonna say that the only place that these people belong is the Gulag. This is the only place that people belong.
True lag. Yes.
Honestly, you make me Prime Minister, chat. I will send all of these business bellends who throw a fucking temper tantrum when they have to treat their workers like human beings rather than fucking slaves. And I'll send them to Golly Otok tomorrow. I'll do that, and we'll expropriate the businesses and make them work around. Because, again, it's so frustrating that they're trying to claim it be anti-growth. I mean, like, what would be better for growth than making sure that people who are working people are more productive because they feel like they have a stake in society, rather than being treated like numbers by business owners extracting huge amounts of their surplus value, who would then also have more money in their pockets to go and spend in the economy to buy the products that those businesses are creating. This idea that somehow you'll have no growth if you have good workers' rights, right? Is there low growth in Denmark, in Norway, in Sweden, in Finland, where they have much better unionization and workers' rights than we do? Of course there isn't. Norway is growing significantly faster than we are, because the working people of Norway feel like that it's actually worth going to work, rather than in the UK, where you have shitty gig economy jobs, where you don't have good pensions anymore, where you don't have good workplace rights, and companies can hire and fire you at a fucking moment's notice, right? You have no incentive to be productive. Actually get workers buying into their workplaces is a much better way of incentivizing them to be more productive, which is a big problem in our economy at the moment. Yet it's motherfuckers like this who will kneecap growth so that they can peel every single penny out of the hard-working and miserated people of this country, so they can throw that into massive asset values and live off of all of those assets forever as quote-unquote passive income, i.e. income stolen from working people.
Indeed. Now, before I say what I'm about to say, Fuzzmoz has basically preempted me there, but I had the exact same thought, and I was going to say it, I was just waiting for a break in play as we speak. Yeah, you know that a journalist out there now is going to definitely, like, write a think piece about how evil and bad Zach Polanski is, because you know one of his podcast guests called for the gulagging of business people.
I mean, that's why I can't go on Question Time, chat. They will find it. Also, level 8 Necro says they yearn for the mines. I mean, no, that the mine is specifically for the Nazis, right? Nazis and fascists go to the mine. Business owners go to Golly Otok. That's it. That's the difference, right? Okay. You know?
With the public sector, barely a single one of your MPs has ever even worked in the private sector, let alone run a business. You have no idea or interest in the whole way in which wealth is created and innovation and exports. How are we going to live if all we're interested in ever is the public sector?
All right, I'll come back to you, James.
I'm sorry, what? Like, we have been systematically demolishing the private sector for 46 years. But all we ever talk about as the private sector is the corollary, so we never talk about immigration, when the opposite is manifestly true.
Yeah, the idea that this government are too focused on the public sector is ludicrous.
It's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. And the idea that you need to have worked in the private sector to understand how these things work is nonsensical. And also, yeah, there are people in the Labour Party who've worked in the private sector, mostly as workers, not enough of them. There's too many lobbyists and political operators. Granted, that is true. But the previous governments that were Tories were all full of business bellends and bankers and financiers and private sector people. Did they do good for the country? Well, look at, everything, kind of gesturing broadly
yeah.
at society? And the answer is obviously no.
Rishi Sunak was the richest fucking prime minister we've ever had, and he didn't like inherit that money. He do his business and all the rest of it. You know, I mean, he got a good start in life, but whatever.
Goldman Sachs.
Although, of course, he didn't have Sky when he was a kid, so clearly he was impoverished beyond belief. Like Tiny Tim or some shit, fucking coughing up blood. And he was fucking terrible. So, like, the idea that having a business person running what isn't a business is a good idea is not necessarily true.
Gareth.
Look, governing is hard, as Labour are finding out, and I think we all accept that we all have to pay tax. That is a given. But you have to pay less tax if you can grow the economy or you can cut spending. And as James said, as the Chancellor has said, this is about choices. And the choice that the Chancellor has made this week, and actually with the budget last year, is to increase taxes by £66 billion since the election, and basically increase welfare spending. And part of that is the two-child benefit cap removal, but it's also other benefits that are going up too. And I think that's where the public take the biggest...
Which one's going up? What's going up by the most? What's going up by more than every other benefit combined? Do you want to enlighten us, please, Mr. Tory, about which thing in the welfare spending is going up the most by the most percentage and the most significant nominal amount?
But they
I'll give you a clue. It was a policy that you passed, the Conservative Party did in 2010.
Answers on a postcard, chat.
I mean, it's also worth pointing out, in that same budget with the Institute of the Triple Lock, which is what I'm talking about, they also froze child benefit and they capped housing benefit as well.
Yeah. So, but old people vote, so it's,
Yep.
That's why they do that. Thank you to Danger Vince for 6 months of membership on or subscription, I suppose, technically on Twitch.
Biggest disagreement. They weren't told this before the election. It's a perfectly reasonable position to have, by the way, to make that choice, and we can debate that. But to not tell people before the election when you're trying to win votes, I think is unacceptable. There are times when you...
It's not so much not telling the election, it's actually promising something different, which is saying that we are not going to raise taxes.
Exactly, that's basically my point. They went into the election saying that they would raise taxes by 8 billion, wouldn't put taxes up on working people, wouldn't raise national insurance, wouldn't raise income tax, and actually wouldn't remove the cap, the two-child benefit cap. That wasn't in the manifesto either. And so I think that's why people are quite angry at the moment. They didn't know that this was what they would do, and I think Labour intended it all along, I'm afraid. And so we have a situation now where we've got historic levels of taxation that is going to slow growth. Growth has been downgraded, compared to the March 2024 forecasts. It's being downgraded. Growth has been downgraded by the IMF, the OECD, the BOE, the IFS. By
other organisations which are shit. Awesome. Cool.
And also worth pointing out, the biggest reason they cite to downgrade growth is international factors. Like, wow, I can't believe the people who were elected to government when the USA was doing normal policy, not like perfect policy, but like normal policy, and we're just fucking trying to tank the global economy for geopolitical reasons. Maybe other countries that are trading favorably with the United States would have higher growth under that model than when Donald Trump is in office. The biggest downgrade really to growth is coming from Donald Trump and nothing to do with what the Labour Party are doing,
Well, the Penguins seem to have managed it okay.
Now, I think every letter in the alphabet has criticised this Labour government's economic management. And so it is not acceptable to people, and I completely understand the anger with this.
Man in the grey sweater.
My point to make here is that we are tinkering with lots of little taxes, and it's costing...
That is a delightful combination of old Pakistani and posh British man as an accent.
Honestly, it's incredible. Like, what I love so much is that people talk about like lack of integration, and we just have the best integration.
Yeah.
We have so many communities like this where there's this unique accent, because the UK has preserved so much of our historic regional accents because we've not been invaded for 1,000 years or whatever it is, and it's so perfect that it it shows the level to which this integration has worked so well. Because you have like this incredible, like the Bradford Desi accent is it's incredible.
Yeah.
It's a thing of beauty. It really is.
Absolutely magical. Although is Lekkers in chat, by the way, my Dutch viewer, who may wish to suggest that we have been invaded in the last 1,000 years. The Orange Fleet sailing up the Thames and taking London just before the Glorious Revolution and all of that jazz in the 1700s. So we were invaded. I'm just saying. It happened.
True.
Imagine losing to the Dutch in a war. Oh, that's some old shit, man.
The Exchequer, a lot of money to collect that tax. An example I can give, I'm getting winter fuel allowance, and then they're going to take it out of my tax. So instead of 200 they would have had, which I was happy to give, they'll probably get 180. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, he's got that kind of Ramiz Raja kind of Pakistan/posh British accent thing going on.
He does sound like Ramiz Raja, doesn't he?
Yeah,
I love that.
It's a very specific kind of little niche.
Yeah, because you know that, especially when it comes to Ramiz Raja, because he's is he Pakistani or is he British Pakistani?
I think he's Pakistani, but like he's lived most of his adult life in Britain, I think.
Yeah, and as obviously as as a cricketer, you'd pick up from all of the posh private school bankers that are also the ones that are famous in the cricket world.
Well, even in Pakistan, most of the people who make it into the national team are posh lads. Now, it's posh in a Pakistani sense. You know, in Britain they would still be seen as Pakistani, I guess, whatever. But like it's like rich kids basically. Like there was a Pakistani player who got into the team who couldn't speak English, and all of the players were making fun of him.
Oh, but the best one is
he couldn't
Saeed
speak
Ajmal.
English. What the fuck? He's not from England. What?
like the best one was Saeed Ajmal, who did these like interviews in chopped English that were fucking hilarious. It's a shame he was a cheater.
Well, yes, that isn't great.
But it was very funny.
They need to look at it in the most efficient way of tax collection as well, not anything else.
Okay, there's a couple of people further back. Yes, the man sort of in the middle, yes, with the glasses.
In the last election...
Yes, he is one of the Kapoors the Coopers from Goodness Gracious Me, yeah. Absolutely.
So thank you, Can't Give a Duck, for the 3 gifties. 1 to Danger Vince, 1 to KF Logan 1875, 1 to Gremlo. Much appreciate for the 3 gifties.
I don't appreciate being given things. Take it back. I don't want it.
No handouts.
Exactly. I feel like I owe you something now.
If you can't afford to be a Twitch subscriber yourself, then don't expect other people to pay it for you.
Exactly. There's no such thing as a free lunch, chat.
Labour refused to provide any detail on what was in the manifesto, agreeing with James, and they've since overridden manifesto commitments in the last 2 budgets, and have even ditched another manifesto commitment today. So what is the value of the manifesto?
Right, we'll come...
Can't believe what's in it.
I do think that that's a question.
I mean, that's what's really important, right? Is that you can make a case for higher taxation. You can make a change for a broader reworking of the social contract in terms of what people expect to pay and what people expect to get from the state. These are all things that are reasonable questions to ask, and ones that I think I'm closer to the Labour position on this than I am the Conservative position is, purely on the grounds of being significantly to the left of the Labour Party, right? But there's arguments for and against, and I think pretty strong arguments for. But unless you make those arguments to the electorate in your manifesto, unless you give people the choice to vote for it, unless you are very clear in the run-up to the election that this is what you are getting elected to do, you can't do that. Like, you need to do those things pre-election to get buy-in for the public.
Are you
for 2 reasons.
suggesting that Keir Starmer is a liar?
A proven morally corrupt serial liar, of course.
Yeah.
And because there's 2 big problems. First of all is that it fundamentally undermines democracy. It's an undermining of the democratic process. And second of all is that it will negatively polarize people towards the kind of social contract change that you want to make. If you're trying to force it on the public, not only will they hate you for being anti-democratic, they will hate the thing you're trying to do, as they feel that it's something that can only be pushed through by hoodwinking the public rather than with public consent. And that's really dangerous for whatever kind of pitch they're trying to roll here.
Also, why does that guy look like Asian Harry Hill?
Giant collar.
Yeah, the giant collar, the specs, the bald... That's Harmeet Hill.
that we can put to all parties, though, because if you look at the Conservative spending plans under Jeremy Hunt, I'm sorry, but the Institute for Fiscal Studies looked at them and thought they were completely ludicrous as well. And I don't think there's any question that if the Conservatives were in government, they would be facing exactly the same crunch. Some of that extra welfare spending that Gareth is talking about is driven, 34 billion of it is driven by the triple lock on the state pension. That's something that...
Wow, someone said it. Someone said the thing. You're not supposed to say the thing.
Conservative government supports as well. So let's be clear, this isn't just on one party. The IFS said going into the last election, neither party is being honest with us about the tough trade-offs here, and both of them are going to the election with spending plans that don't stack up. So I think it's important to be clear, it's both parties.
And again, point out,
Do you want to include
worth
this
pointing
as
out,
well?
Sorry, I can do
that this was specifically called by the IFS a conspiracy of silence, and they weren't wrong to call it. And the press barely mentioned it to the parties and to try and get them to admit this stuff before the election. The only person, and literally the only person who was trying to force Labour and Tories to be honest about the conspiracy of silence was fucking Stephen Flynn.
Stephen Flynn.
We had to rely on somebody who is responsible as part of a party for, 5% of the population or something, to get people who wanted to be responsible for the whole population to be honest about basic tax and spend policy. It was crazy. It was such a dishonest election.
Yeah, also we're relying on a guy who doesn't want to be there to try and ensure the moral probity of those who do want to be there.
Exactly, right?
Look, it's so whack when you see Parliament, when the only people who are any fucking good in the place, literally their entire existence is predicated on not wanting to sit in that chamber. What the fuck?
You have to rely on people outside this country to hold us to account, because everyone inside it has got these kind of perverse incentives to not do it. Like, remember when the Trojan Horse scandal broke?
Yeah.
The only way it broke was because an American fucking podcast covered it. And the press in this country got mad that they did.
Yep. Much like that Zach Polanski. He had someone on who advocates gulags. The man's a monster, honestly.
Yeah, one who advocates for gulags and another one who said that America deserved 9/11.
He hasn't had me on yet. What?
Lance? You're leaving the Lib Dems out. Callum.
Thanks, Fiona. I want to come back to Emma's question, because Emma said, what is the point? And I think, frankly, this was a hopeless budget in both meanings. It was hopeless because of the mess that surrounded it and in some of the policies, but it didn't provide hope. And I think, people understand that we're in a difficult situation. We've got real challenges in this country. But what people actually need is a belief that any sacrifices they're making now are going to be for a purpose, are going to take us somewhere. And we as Liberal Democrats argue going into this budget that the government should be doing a couple of things. It should be looking at the cost of living and trying to alleviate that.
Skills wallets and rejoining the EU.
I guess that's what I was going to say, but they did do something of the cost of living by freezing rail fares and prescription costs and getting rid of the ECO, which they shouldn't have done, by the way. They should have just, provided more, demand-side subsidy, potentially, for energy bills. But regardless, the idea that somehow those weren't cost of living measures is nonsense. What were the Lib Dems going to do for rail fares? Remember, they're against nationalisation of the railways.
Yeah, well, because they're the Liberal Democrats. Like, when he says, what was the point? What's the point of the Liberal Democrats?
Yeah, as a whole, as party. Also, it's so frustrating that because of the definitely 100% far left-wing bias of the BBC, I keep having to defend the Labour Party coming from for attacks coming against them from the significantly right of them. Yeah. Because we just have entirely right wings on this panel, apart from Sonia Soda, who's a fucking lib.
When it's hitting households the hardest. But it should also be looking at how it could help businesses by lifting red tape and helping them to have a prospect of growth, much as Luke was saying earlier on. The biggest opportunity we have in this country to grow is to restore our relationship with the European Union. There's been a recent study from the National Bureau of Economic Research in the US saying that the chances for going £90 billion a year in revenue because of the change in our relationship with the European Union. Now, we don't need to go all the way back
for fuck's sake, I did the joke, mate. If he says skills wallets, I'm actually going to explode.
That in order to see a real improvement, even by cutting the...
Right, but what the fuck do you want him to... again, what am I supposed to do here? Keir Starmer is not going to rejoin the European Union. I mean, there are many things he'll do that he doesn't have a mandate to do, but there are some things that are literally impossible. He's not going to rejoin the European Union. Stop it. Stop trying to make that happen. It's not a thing. It's not going to be a thing for 20 fucking years.
There's people getting mad about Labour breaking manifesto commitments, and they quite frankly should be. And then he's going, well, Labour need to break the manifesto commitments and not reverse Brexit. And I'm like, do you want them to stick to manifesto commitments or not?
Well, and also, these same fucking neoliberal ghouls are okay with them breaking the manifesto pledge about the Workers' Rights Bill. More than happy to water that shit down. It's almost like they don't give a fuck about the democratic fucking deficit or anything of the sort.
It's almost like the Liberal Democrats abstained on the Workers' Rights Bill when it was coming through the House of Commons, you know? Because they don't believe in workers' rights.
Yeah.
And the Liberal Democrats want to ban unions from funding political parties.
I want to ban the Liberal Democrats.
Yep. I've got
The red tape that the Tories' botched Brexit deal has put onto businesses, we could see a real improvement in revenue, up to 20...
Exactly, literally, the EU is fetch. Stop trying to make it happen, okay? It's not going to be a thing. Thank you, Anonymous Gifter, for... Oh my Jesus Christ, how is that allowed as a name? America _deserved _9/11 is now a subscriber to my channel. Thank you. How is that allowed? How the fuck is that a name that Twitch allows you to have? That's really mental.
25 billion a year, which would put money back in the exchequer.
What was the one from last night? Someone gifted a sub to Hitler's balls or something. No, was it Fred Dibner's balls?
Incredible.
Like, what the fuck? How is that a name? What?
To reduce taxes, and most of...
Because it wouldn't be Hitler or Frosh. It would have to be their ball, not balls.
Well, but the two of them together have got a fully working set of bollocks.
Importantly, would allow businesses to grow, to employ people, to give them opportunity, and frankly, coming back to the point, would give us some hope that there was a future.
What did Albert Hall ever do with the bollock? Because it's not on display anymore, is it? They're probably in storage. It's probably seen as a bit problematic as a as an artifact.
A world in which our economy was growing.
Did you know, on the talk of genitals, and why not, did you know the Vatican claimed to have Jesus's foreskin?
Oh yeah, that's referenced in the History Boys by Alan Bennett.
Absolutely mental. And they used to parade it until like 1905. They had a parade every year where they would take... I mean, it was just a puck of meat. It wasn't actually his foreskin, obviously.
Just get Nigel Farage to eat it on a Bush Tucker trial.
I'm happy with that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and they would parade the Jesus's foreskin because that's what a normal religion would do. I think definitely.
Sustaining our public services through that growth, not by hammering households and businesses with higher and higher taxation.
And is there anything in this budget that you do support?
We welcome the...
You can tell how interesting and worthwhile the contribution has been from the Liberal Democrat because we're talking about Jesus's fucking foreskin. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's not... That seems like an adequate distraction from this fucking soporific melt.
Increase in remote gaming duty. Our gambling organisations online are not only leading to an epidemic of mental health challenges, particularly for young men, but also they are damaging the fabric of the community. They're also not paying their taxes. And the one gap that I would say alongside that is that the government had a great opportunity to levy a larger tax on our banks. They've been handed a £30 billion windfall, not because they're wonderful investment bankers and they've gone and found productive investments, but because the way in which the Bank of England has unwound the borrowing it did during the financial crisis through something called quantitative tightening is just handing that profit to the banks. We think the government should have taken that back and invested it in public services rather than hammering small businesses.
I agree with
this.
Man at the back.
So I voted for Labour because I think I was sick of just the craziness of Truss and Johnson. I think it was good.
It's nice, isn't it? They're
quiet. I just want to go back to Callum Miller's point there, though, about the banks. We should have a windfall tax on the banks who are seeing increased profits because of interest rates going up, and they've not really passed it on to savers. But we should also be putting a tax on the money that we pay to the Bank of England on interest on government bonds that they hold as well.
Why does this man have two sets of chins? And I don't mean he's like got a fat neck. I mean he's got two different shapes of skull on his chin.
I mean I mean, it reminds me of the Frankie Boyle joke about David Coulthard. It was like when he goes down on his wife, does it feel like she's being rescued by a whale?
True.
By a dolphin, sorry.
Yeah. Oh God. You know Kevin Hart, the American comedian, the short guy. What was the joke? It was one of these roast battles where someone said, he's so short he has to go up on his wife. It's quite fun.
And I think there's sensible people in power now, but we are looking for a bit more hope and growth. And I don't see the big ideas coming from Labour right now, but I think that's the opportunity for you guys to really look at that.
The man at the back with the white shirt and dark sweater. Yeah.
The people don't really want a lot. They want their bins collected on time. They want to go...
Yeah, fucking tell me about it, bruv. Yeah.
to go to the doctors, get a dentist appointment, save a bit of money and go on holiday every year. And unfortunately, this Labour government, you're not giving the people...
Sorry, that's ridiculous again. How is this a name that is allowed? Thank you to... Hang on a second. Hang on. Thank you to I Can't Give a Duck for gifting a sub to Jesus Foreskin.
Incredible scenes.
Amazing.
What I will say
And
though,
we just
this guy go...
before you go, sorry, Jesus Foreskin has put us onto a hype train, and so we're now on a second hype train. If we get to level 2 of the hype train, I will finger the Vatican because it morally died a long time ago.
Absolutely, I'm sure they'd enjoy it. But also, this guy says, people just want their bins collected, they want to go and see the doctor. Okay, do you want to pay for that? Would you like to pay the tax that's required to have those public services?
No, only public service, no tax.
Literally, this is the world that we live in. They go, people just want to have public services that work. Okay, do you want to fund public services that work?
No. I'd like to have my cake and also have eaten that cake, but still have that cake, please. Thank you.
Literally, and this is the attitude of so many voters. Like I said about the triple lock recipients who are going, we would very much like ever-increasing pension provision, but we also want no immigration and no two-child benefit cap removal, which would help people have more families, to have the people that we need to have the birth rates to fund pensions in the future.
It's a phenomenally infantile way of viewing the world, frankly. Can we only ever have good thing and never ever have any bad thing? Please. No, that's obviously not how any of this fucking works. Reality does not work this way. If you want good thing, you have to make good thing happen.
hope.
In this case, by paying your fucking taxes. Everyone pays taxes, it goes into a common pot, we get services out of it.
I mean, to say truth, the government spends money and then it requires taxation to ensure that we don't have an inflationary spiral due to the increasing circulation of currency. Right?
Okay, but you know what I mean, that one directly leads to the other, basically.
Yeah, the reality is the same, right? Is that you need to have some level of taxation to deal with government spending. It's just the dynamic. The chicken comes before the egg rather than the other way around.
And actually, we know for a fact that the egg came before the chicken. Eggs developed long before chickens as a species existed. So.
Well, I mean, if you look at the evolution, the final form of the chicken was through a mutation that happened in gestation, right? So yeah, the egg did come before the chicken because there would have been a previous organism that the genetic mutation to create the chickens we know today, that would have happened in gestation of the new thing rather than the current chicken changing its genetics, you know.
I wonder what the chicken's going to do next. I can't wait to see. And I'm sure I'll definitely be around for that. Thank you, Fosmos, for gifting a community sub, and thank you, KSO, for resubscribing for 44 fucking months. Love it. Yes, I've got to go and finger the Vatican. But they're very chill on security at the Vatican.
Nothing
so
bad
fine.
can happen.
Yeah.
It can only good happen.
So that's ever going to come back ever again.
And woman here towards the front.
I'd like to know from Labour who they mean when they talk about working people, because it seems to me that it's the working people that have suffered the most in this budget. I've got 2 kids that are 27, nearly 29, who are both working. They've got no chance of ever moving out of home in the immediate future because housing so expensive. They've got huge, ridiculous debt from their student fees, where they're paying the most outrageous interest rates.
Right, okay, pause. I mean, this is all true, right? And, of course, those people will pay higher taxes because fiscal drag will drag them into higher tax bands. Therefore, as working people, they will pay more. That's simple as that. It's a manifesto break as far as I'm concerned, especially since they promised that they wouldn't extend it further in previous budgets too. But regardless, who were the ones who fucked student finance into the sun? Who are the ones who didn't reform planning to build more houses? Who are the ones who sold off the council houses? Who are the ones that engaged in a poor quantitative easing plan that put more money into asset values, therefore making houses even more unaffordable? Well, that was the Conservatives. That was the Tories that did all of that.
/ the Liberal Democrats as well.
/ Liberal Democrats, and to a lesser extent, I guess, New Labour. Now, for all of, again, like, obviously Labour are now making it so that more people have to repay their student loans at the exorbitant rate. They're not fixing student finance, so that's bad. They are not building enough council housing, although their planning reforms will at least mean more houses get built to try and arrest the increase in house prices, right? If your concern is that kids are paying exorbitant student loan costs and can't get on the housing ladder, I don't think you can really blame a year-old government for this, for all of their faults, rather than the 14 years or 46 years preceding this that turned housing into assets and education into a commodity.
Yeah, the half century of Thatcherite fuckery has a lot more to do with it than 18 months of Keir Starmer being ineffective.
Yeah, exactly.
You know. Thank you to Phil Decker with bits, and thank you. I can't give a duck to Jesus. What are you typing in to find these things? Finger my hole is now also a subscriber. Thank you. I like that. I like that my audience, my fantastic community, spend their evenings with me communally, engaged in political dialogue, and trying to find amusing names on Twitch to gift memberships to. It's a beautiful thing. Love it. Yes, anyway. I was going to say something and I've totally forgotten. Oh well.
The interest rates that they're paying. And, you know, this budget to me seems to be helping the people that are not employed and don't seem to have any likelihood of being employed at any time in the future.
Listen, James, a lot of questions.
What's that based on?
I mean, again, she's referring to people who are on universal credit. Again, 40% of whom are in work.
Yeah.
40% of people who are claiming universal credit are in work, so that's wrong. What she probably isn't referring to there is the state pension, who are not likely to go into work in future. They will never work again because they are past retirement age. That's the reality of where most of the extra welfare spend is going. So it is a transfer of wealth. It is a transfer of income from working people to people who don't work, but it's from working age people to pension age people. That's the biggest transfer that's going on here. And even then, most of the increase in that is going to fiscal headroom, not even going to any excess spending.
It's going directly from the pockets of people who are actually in work to P&O cruises. For old people to spend their time in the Caribbean, basically.
Wait, just before I put them to you, what I noticed after the budget was that the Labour MPs on the backbenches seemed pretty cock-a-hoop with how it was going. So a lot of waving of order papers and some accusations coming towards Keir Starmer that he was putting satisfying the party ahead of satisfying the country. So far, this bit of the country doesn't seem particularly satisfied. Is there anyone here?
Oh no, Watford doesn't like it.
Well, again, like, they were waving their papers around about the removal of the 2-child cap on universal credit, and I was like, if you don't get rid of it, everyone who's clapping the people attacking Labour for removing the 2-child cap would pay more in tax later at the expense of all of the fucking immiserated children growing into unproductive adults reliant on the welfare state and the NHS.
True. Thank you everyone for the hype train. Much love to you. I will do disgusting things for all of you.
If you would put your hands on just for a sec, and then obviously put them back up again, but is there anyone here who felt the budget was good and will help them? Yes.
2 people.
2 hands, so let's hear from you. Yes, woman here in the front.
Yes, I felt it was a good budget. I felt that, you know, it was making the people that can afford it pay more, and the people that can't afford it, you know, we're going to have more money to help look after them. The world is in a difficult situation. I think we've got a government that maybe was a bit naive, saying that they would never put up income tax, but I don't think it was a deliberate lie that we've had from past governments in their manifesto promises.
Oh, come on. Come on, don't be like that. Don't give them the benefit of the doubt. It's clear that this breaks the manifesto commitment. They are paying more in tax. Working people are paying more in tax. It's not the same as the fiscal drag that was already there, that was up to 2027, because that was already in the Conservative government spending plans that they also said that they would keep, right? So that's keeping a manifesto commitment to not change the taxation scheme to make working people pay more. And that scheme was already in place by the Tories. That's not a manifesto break. They extended this when they promised not to. Like, don't give these people the benefit of the doubt. Whilst it's fine to say that the removal of the 2-child limit was good, we here on the left, we all agree with this. But the idea that you can defend what was obviously a form of sleight of hand in terms of wording of the manifesto so let them get away with this. It's nonsense. You don't need to do this to politicians.
No, absolutely, yeah. Don't let them lawyer their way out of breaking pledges. That's ridiculous,
Yeah.
Thank you to Anonymous Gifter for gifting a sub to Sit on My Face.
I love it.
Have I got any normally named members now at all?
Also, thank you, Anonymous, for gifting us up to the same America Who Deserve 9/11.
Just absolutely hoovering up the fucking memberships tonight.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Sir, a second membership has hit the Twitch stream.
I think there were obviously things about the budget that we could all moan about. That's what budget...
Okay, this looks like the transition between young John Lydon and old John Lydon. He's the midway point between Sex Pistols, Johnny Rotten, and the weird far-right piece of shit we now have. You have totally gone... there you go. Okay.
Budgets are for, right? You moan about them. But there are things about the budget that, you know, we can celebrate.
Or, and hear me out, chat, right? Quite an adorable lesbian.
Children being lifted out of poverty, can't we? I mean, that's something that is happening because of the removal of the cap on two children.
Child
benefit, yeah. And I think it was a good thing that they put extra amounts of tax on people who own properties over £2 million pounds, was it? And then rising for people who own property after that. So, yeah, I support the Labour government in trying to make sure that the wealthiest in this country pay their fair share. And to the extent that the budget did that, I think it was a good thing.
Right, so James, look, there's been...
I don't know, I thought his argument was pretty vacant, to be honest. But...
a bit of criticism of the budget coming away. Let's deal with a couple of the questions. So one of the questions was asking about manifesto commitments. So the manifesto promised not to raise income tax, VAT or national insurance. In other promises, the Chancellor said last year she wouldn't come back for more taxes. She has. She said that last budget she would not continue a freeze on tax thresholds. She has. And then today, the government's U-turned on another manifesto commitment, unrelated specifically to the budget, but just in terms of broken promises, to offer all workers protection against unfair dismissal from day one. That's gone out the window as well. How can anyone believe what you're saying?
True.
Well, what it says in our...
They can't.
I mean, again,
no reasonable person can now, I think.
I mean, that's the thing, is that maybe if any journalist at all at any point before now had scrutinised Keir Starmer's entire prospectus as leader of the Labour Party, and the fact that he's literally always been a liar this whole time, from day one of being not even the leader, from the start of the leadership election, and in the background as a shadow minister in the Labour opposition when Jeremy Corbyn was leader, all he was doing was lying. He was engaged in one kind of conspiracy, quite frankly, in the background with Morgan McSweeney when he was a shadow minister to tank the election. He was then a liar during the leadership election for the Labour Party. He just kept lying about the positions that he'd previously held when he was justifying the new ones in the leadership position, and he lied in the manifesto, and they're lying again now. But because they didn't bother scrutinising his lies because they only affected left-wingers before he became Prime Minister, everyone's just surprised that he's lying again when he's just always been one.
Yeah. Is that true? I mean, it's Find Out now, but their latest poll has Labour down at 6 seats.
Depends on which model that you use. Stats for Lefties had them at 12, but yes, the latest Find Out Now poll looks like it puts Labour into sub 20 seats. Yeah,
I mean, that is ridiculous. Not a majority of six. Look, you'll notice there is no red left there anywhere. Look, they've got 3 seats clustered in Liverpool, and that's about it. That's mental.
Well, that's what happens when you spread your vote too thin, right? Whilst it guarantees you a bigger win if you do well, that's the voter efficiency thing where you have small majorities everywhere. But that also means it only takes a small swing against you to lose a bunch of seats. And because they have lost so many votes in their heartlands by telling the left that the door is open that they can leave, there's no safe seats for them anymore either. So a big shift in votes doesn't just lead to a loss of an election, it leads to a total collapse of your support everywhere.
Yeah. Oh no, the fleas have left. No. Again, it was their entire bit was no policy, just vote for us.
Yep.
Nope, that's not how that works, mate.
But the trots have fled.
Manifesto
True.
Is that we will keep taxes on working people as low as possible. And if you
No,
look at the choices
pause.
that we took,
Pause. No, the manifesto said you will not raise taxes on working people. It didn't say you'd keep them as low as possible. It says you wouldn't raise them, and you have.
Yeah.
Yeah,
just to balance that out for everyone, the find out now are a little dubious, I think. I wouldn't take that as gospel.
I mean, they have the Greens in second in multiple polls. Like, I'm a Green supporter who loves to see it, but I know that it's not true.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised. If you go on the poll of polls, they have the Labour Party on, anywhere between 80 to 120 type seats, that those sorts of numbers, which is still, opposition territory or even third in some cases, but they're not going to end up with 6 seats. That's ridiculous.
Exactly.
Well, hang on.
necessary decisions.
Hang on a minute. It said you would not raise income tax, national insurance or VAT. A lot of more people are going to be paying a lot more income tax as they're dragged into higher tax thresholds.
Yeah, we said we wouldn't increase those rates, and we said we would keep taxes on working people as low as possible. And in the budget, the Chancellor was upfront that we are asking everyone to contribute more because of the threshold freeze extension.
So when she said she wouldn't come back for more, she has. So that's a broken promise.
As some of the people in the audience have said,
literally, yeah.
It's not wrong. Again, it's a promise I wish that they'd not made, because I think it's better that we have higher taxes. But you can't promise to not do it and then do it. Like, it betrays the trust of the electorate.
Yep, that's it. That's the point. Thank you, I Can't Give a Duck, for gifting a sub to Sean Vids, who is Sean of the Sean and Jens.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, we are asking those with broader shoulders to make a bigger contribution. So people who have properties worth more than £2 million. We're making some reforms to the taxation of gambling, to electric vehicles, to the way that income from property, for instance, is taxed. All of that means that we can keep taxes on working people as low as possible. And actually, Fiona, I think one of the points which has come up from a few audience members from different angles is about that hope for the future. And I really understand that feeling of wanting to feel that things are getting better. And it can be hard because, public services had got to...
Wow, if only someone had offered change and then not delivered any fucking change. Crazy, isn't it? As if you were... imagine a party that were elected to change things, literally had Baldrick dancing in the streets in favour of change and then refused to do any change.
Yeah, maybe don't make promises you can't keep. Really simple stuff,
A really bad stage in this country. The economy was in a really bad stage when we got into office. The level of debt was really high. It was not a good inheritance that we had, and I think everyone here knows that. That's why people voted for change. But the gentleman in the back row spoke...
But again, they didn't get that change, did they, friend? No. Hello, there's Some Random Geek. Everyone go and follow Some Random Geek on all of the platforms.
About public services improving it, so you can get your bins collected, get a doctor's appointment, you can get public services that actually work. When we came into office, we promised 2 million extra appointments in the NHS. We've delivered 5.2 million.
All right.
Public services, we want to make sure that they are improving. And so when we came into this budget and had to take decisions, we did not decide to follow the route of cutting public services and public investment. We want to give better public services for people in the future. And if I might just make one
really
final
quickly,
point.
because otherwise you're not going to get time to answer any of the other questions.
Well, I was going to come on to the other
So the woman there in the blue stripy shirt was saying, your kids, I mean, they're adults now, but they don't feel better off and they're struggling, and yet they are the very working people that Labour is supposed to be protecting. So, and you were asking, Madam, what is your definition of a working person?
Yeah, but you spoke, Madam, about your
Well, she
children.
asked you that specifically. What is your definition of a working person?
Well, people who go out to work and get money on their pay slip, and we don't want the national insurance or income tax to go up.
You're not helping him.
Yeah,
I'm not
but we're
suggesting you should. I'm sure he's very well off as it is. But nonetheless, he's a working person too.
We're talking about how people get their income. So if you look at the choices that we made in the budget, if people go out to work and then pay income tax and national insurance on their income as being an employee, those rates are not going to go up. If people get their income from other sources, property, savings or dividends, we have increased that by 2p. But the reason why we've done that is to keep it as low as possible on working people.
Right.
But you also spoke about housing. You mentioned, I think you mentioned your children looking for somewhere to get a home. And That is such a big challenge for this country, about the next generation feeling they have hope of getting a home that they can afford.
And it's getting further and further away because you won't do anything. You promised to build 1.5 million homes, which wouldn't be a fucking scratch on the problem really anyway, and you don't even have spades in the ground 18 months in. You've all basically already fucking failed.
Like, affordable house building in London is going down.
Amazing.
And that's the place where the highest demand for new affordable or council housing is, you know?
Yeah.
Partly that's Sadiq Khan's fault, and partly that's the issue that London councils are staffed by NIMBYs. Like, a Labour fucking council in Wandsworth, like, turned down planning permission for a giant fucking tower block, of which a third of which would be council housing. I genuinely lose my mind. Like, is it like you're not building on the green belt if you build a tower block in the centre of fucking London? I'm sorry, it is ridiculous the level to which we refuse to build housing. Yeah. At this point, we need to go full Hong Kong. We need to turn into these giant fucking Kowloon walled city style tower blocks to ensure that we at least get the high enough density to make the housing affordable that doesn't impact like land values so much and doesn't expand cities further than they need to do so when we're a nature depleted country. Give me the commie blocks. The people demand commie blocks.
Yes. Khrushchevka, immediately.
Immediately.
And that is why we are so determined to build those homes. Now, this means getting
But
planning
you're
regulations.
massively
No, this
behind
means
on
getting
building the
planning
homes.
regulations which are in the way of building out of the way. And not everyone
the number
finds
of
that
homes
popular,
being built every
but
year
we have
has
to get those
fallen
planning regulations
since
that
you
are
came to
blocking new
power.
homes out of the way so we can get homes built.
Can I just...
We will come to housing, so let's park that idea for now, but go on just quickly. Sorry,
Well, just on young people, one thing in the budget, for example, is that the state pension has gone up because of the triple lock, but the threshold at which young people have to repay their student loans has been frozen. Now, graduates in their 20s and 30s pay an extra 9 percentage points of income tax. That's basically what it is above the threshold, and that threshold has been frozen. There are people in their 20s who will never own their own homes. They're going to get to retirement in the private rented sector. It's overpriced, it's bad value, they're not going to have enough money in their pension, and all of a sudden they're not going to have anywhere to live because they haven't bought a house and they haven't paid off their mortgage.
Pause as well.
Young people are...
And it's the people who are receiving the state pension in lots of cases who are having their extra house paid for them by those renters. They are buying an extra house for free for another pensioner who they're also going to have to pay more for the state pension for as well. It is totally insane. The marginal tax rate for some people on like normal median income levels because of the student loan repayment kicking in is over 70%. That's 70%.
That's mental.
And that's not unlike people earning 150k, that's on people earning like 50k.
And you know who Sonia blames for that? Trans people.
Trans people. And what's crazy as well is that, like, there are people leaving this country again, and like over like 70% of the net of the overall people who left who are British nationals, 70% of them are under the age of 35.
Mad. That's the real. That's the real brain drain.
Yep.
It's not billionaires. It's people who see a system killing itself, trying to pretend that it can still work.
But don't worry, like fucking Simon and Linda are off on P&O cruises tomorrow.
Yippee!
Facing a crisis in terms of the world they're going out into. It is a very harsh world for young people, and my worry is that all of the political parties are just tinkering at the edges of this at the same time as they are spending more and more on the state pension, which is a lovely thing to do. It's good, but the triple lock has played its function. The state pension has gone up a lot in recent years, and I think we need to start prioritising young people, and I don't see any of the parties doing that.
All right, there's a few young people with their hands up. I'm going to very quickly hear from you. Yes, young woman there with the glasses.
You're talking about hope for the future and young people. And as well as the budget this week was COP30. And I think
Oh, so woke.
Oh my god, the nose ring and the thick-rimmed glasses and the star earrings, right? Pronouns in bio.
COP30 was really underwhelming. So when are we going to start giving the climate crisis the attention that it deserves?
Okay, and yes, young woman here.
Second, what everyone's been saying about student loans, like as someone who pays their finances for rent and their tuition fees.
Is that another nose piercing? I'm sorry, I didn't realise I'd gone to the local Communist Party. Unbelievable stuff, honestly.
The Marxists are taking over America.
Thank you to I Can't Give a Dog for gifting a sub to Some Random Geek, who is just a cool person, and Snort Asbestos. Which
what kids are we doing in schools?
What exactly? What did you type to get that? What the fuck? Well, talking of what kids do in schools, did you see Keir Starmer this week?
No.
Well, he went to a school. Oh, this is lovely.
Oh yeah, I did see this one. Yeah.
There's no point playing it then if you've already seen it, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, he did the 6-7 thing, and it made me want to. Yes.
Yes. Seppuku.
And they're going up again, and you're putting 2.8 million now into alternative means of post-GCSE education. What is the point in anyone going to university anymore if we can't ever pay it back and universities can't balance the books themselves?
All right, Can you want to come in for him?
I did. I mean, I felt for James as he tried to defend the increase in stealth taxes, but fundamentally that is an increase on working people. The IFS has shown it's regressive. It hits those people on lowest incomes first because they come into it
wasn't
first.
stealth tax. We were upfront about asking everyone to make a contribution, but we also said that
not last year.
Not before the
last year.
James, it's a stealth tax in the sense that you're not announcing an increase in the income tax rate. You're freezing so that as inflation rises, as wages go up, more people are dragged into
I think this is
paying
unfair
tax.
too.
And over the 10 years...
Like, what's interesting as well is that there was no such song and dance made when Jeremy Hunt did the same thing.
Yeah.
When Jeremy Hunt froze income tax thresholds, it was spoken about sometimes in the media, but it was never treated as the cornerstone of their fiscal policy. And yet when the Labour Party do it, suddenly it's a massive tax increase, despite the fact that Jeremy Hunt had already agreed to do it to 2027, which is why it was happening in the first place. They're extending a Jeremy Hunt policy. Now, again, that's something that you can definitely make them disagree. You can definitely chastise them for because it's a manifesto breach. But the idea that you're attacking the spirit of it when you didn't do the same to Jeremy Hunt shows you the bias, right?
Yeah.
Years, and Gareth was coming in there, but the Conservatives introduced these over the 10 years from 2021 to 2031, which is where you've now extended it to. Someone on average earnings will be paying nearly £1,000 more in tax. Someone on average earnings, I'm sure, fits in your definition of working person. Their tax bill will go up as a result of this budget. And on the young people that Sonia was talking about, it's not just that the threshold has been frozen, which is another form of stealth tax, it's that the interest rate has been frozen at 7.9%, well above the Bank of England's rate. So young people are going to be accumulating that debt further, and I really felt for what some of the members of the audience were saying. Young people are feeling hopeless because it just seems impossible to get out of this yoke of student debt, and even to think about setting down routes.
Hang on, whoa, how fucking dare you? How dare you, a Liberal Democrat, a member of the party known as the Liberal Democrats, who were in coalition with the Conservative government in 2010 to 2015, the people who trebled tuition fees, who increased student loan repayments,
having gone into that election claiming that if they got into government, would completely scrap tuition fees.
Yeah, who fucked student finance into the sun in terms of the structure of those repayments, having a go at literally anybody else.
You
at
shameless bastard. Yeah.
On the issue of tuition fees, having promised to vote against it in 2010 and have to do a fucking miserable apology video from Nick Clegg. This party needs to go away forever. The Lib Dems are the worst. I hate them so much.
It's a fucking disgrace.
Renting or buying a home. And Labour has really shot that aspiration by extending these stealth taxes on students as well, graduates, as well as they have on working people.
Okay, James, I'm sure you probably want to talk about this all evening. You must have been talking about it for a good day and a half already.
Yeah,
but I'm going to, well, let's move on. Simply because, even though loads of you asked about the budget, a lot of you asked this next question as well, so I want to get to it. Before I do, I just want to let you know where we are next week, which is in Dover, with a special focus
on what topic, chat? Anyone can have a guess. Anyone have a guess what they're going to fucking talk about? The thing that can't be talked about. We never talk about it.
On immigration.
Hey!
So, if you are in Dover,
fucking
or around Dover,
Jesus,
you'd like to be part of the audience for that special programme. Apply to the Question Time website. All the instructions are there, and we would love to see you. And then the week after that, we're in Paisley.
Can I get there via small boat, please? Is that allowed?
That's, I think, our last programme before Christmas. So if you'd like to come to that one, Dover next week, Paisley the week after. As I say, go to the website and everything you need to know is there. OK, our next question is from Peter Heath.
Should we have a judge without a jury?
Right, so there was an internal
No.
government briefing from the Ministry of Justice that was obtained by the BBC, actually.
You can have a judge but not a jury if that's okay with the defendant. The
Hmm.
whole point is that the change here is that it gets rid of the option for loads and loads of people. You know, that's the real problem here. Also, thank you, Ben, for pointing out that the Tories also promised not to raise tax on working people. Were the one who instituted the public sector, instituted the fiscal drag, and also raised national insurance as well. So they also just broke the manifesto commitment and did not get chastised in the same way.
Indeed so. Yeah, this seems very authoritarian, and again, this was never ever mentioned before the election. This is
Not
something
on the
they've
manifesto,
made,
you know.
totally made up whole cloth in government.
Digital ID, not on the manifesto.
Yep.
Which appears to show Ministry of Justice plans to create a new tier of jury-less courts in England and Wales. And the new courts would deal with most crimes that are currently considered by the Crown Courts. Now, our understanding is it was before the Cabinet, ready to be signed off, should they so choose. It was then leaked, and at the moment it's stalled. Sonia.
Yeah, until
I think
until it's not in the news anymore, and then they'll sneak it through because that's what all of them do. They're evil cunts.
Yep.
so. Currently, about over 90% of crimes that are committed, charges are heard before magistrates. I think that line...
So without a jury?
Without a jury. And then for more serious offences, you have the right to request a jury trial for the rest of them. I think that line is in the right place. I would be really, really worried about further restricting the right to jury trial, basically as a way of saving money and improving the efficiency of the court system. I do think there are...
Yeah, literally, neoliberalism is going to go down dying on the hill of its own fucking hubris. Rather than funding a civilization, they're going to go, no, we can't afford civilization, so barbarism it is.
Literally.
Genius. Genius. Okay, if you can't afford a legal system, why should I follow the law? I'm sorry, the social contract works both ways, motherfucker. Either we're going to have a just society, or at least a facsimile of a just society, and I buy into that, or it's fucking war.
What's the social contract? What was that?
It was a play by Alan Bennett. No, I'm joking. Yeah, the country's gone to shit, and the people leading it are like, no, shit's good actually. You should enjoy shit. You should be grateful we're even doing shit.
Issues in the court system. There's a huge backlog. You know, people don't get justice for years at the moment, which leads to real difficulties with witnesses, etc. There are also issues around the fact that...
That's true. To be fair, the changes that were brought forward here were brought forward after the Quango led by Judge Dredd that Keir Starmer put in place just after the election. So, you know, it makes sense. It makes sense that this is what they're doing.
Now a mobile phone, it's got something like 50,000 worth of A4 pages of data on it, of evidence. That leads to increased resource demand.
Well, unless you're Boris Johnson and you accidentally delete all of the pertinent WhatsApp messages that prove that you were evil. But what is a factory reset? I've never heard of this. What is
I can't believe the fucking Lord fucking thingamajiggy, I forgot what his name is, Lord Bethel, keeps getting invited on political panels when he just fucking openly lied to the COVID inquiry. His WhatsApps were deleted and then just said, oh, actually, I had this text from Michelle Mone that was from the period which was deleted that proves that she's innocent. I'm just like, how'd you get that?
That one wasn't deleted. Randomly.
Everything apart from that,
Yeah.
Demands on the courts, the fact that you've got more complex forensic evidence. But at the end of the day, for crimes that you are charged with, that you might end up with a prison sentence of 2 years, 3 years, you should have the right to be tried in front of a jury of 12 peers that are randomly selected. And the reason for that is that
and that's true unless it's me, because I don't want to serve on a jury. Fuck that noise. I don't even do a proper job anymore, and I still can't be bothered.
The deliberation process is really important to our process of justice. We don't want a single judge or a single judge and 2 magistrates making those decisions. They're not representative of the country. They might bring their own biases into the system. I think you've got a right to be tried by a jury, and that's really important. If I was facing a charge that came with 2 or 3 years in prison, I would want to be tried by my peers. And I think it's a false economy that undermines our rights as citizens if we start sending people...
By her peers, does she mean also TERFs? Because they're very much her peers. Yeah.
People to prison for 3 years on the say-so of one judge. I think that would undermine justice and faith in our justice system.
Gareth?
Well, David Lammy, the Justice Secretary and Deputy Prime Minister, said himself in 2020...
Said, I am the law. And then killed someone.
...that essentially criminal trials without a jury is a bad idea. And now he's looking to remove juries. I agree with Sonia. I think it is a fundamental part of our democracy. I think, you know, it dates back to Magna Carta.
But how do you deal with the backlog?
We do have a
It's
backlog.
massive. And obviously loads of it came under
the backlog is
your
nothing
watch
to do with
the
the
Conservative
areas.
government.
Yeah.
We have a
Yeah.
significant backlog, absolutely. And experts have said that...
Wow, it's almost like the Conservatives literally destroyed everything in this country, and there was a backlog in everything.
Yep.
Nothing
bad.
Nothing actually works anymore.
This is not going to reduce the backlog. I think what we should be doing is having the courts sit additional days and for longer. Apparently the Ladies Chief Justice has...
And where are you finding the money for this? Because you know that costs money. You know judges aren't literally free, right? You know that all of that infrastructure and stuff, like people have to get paid for that. So are you going to tax anyone for that? Are you going to borrow more? Where's that money coming from, friend?
Well, that's the issue. Literally just the same way as they were like, we want more defence spending, but we don't want to increase taxes. We would like more judicial spending, we don't want to increase taxes. We want to increase police numbers, but don't increase taxes, having cut all of these things.
Yeah.
Has gone to the Labour government suggesting this, and they rejected that. So I'd like to know why.
We'll come to that. I just wondered, who here has served in a jury? Lots of you. Oh! And on the panel as well. Let's hear some of your experiences. The woman here with the blonde hair. Was it a success? Do you think it worked?
I had two...
Keep your hands up, the rest of you, or I won't be able to find you. Right, okay.
I had two very extreme cases that went on for about 7 weeks. One was...
I believe those eyebrows.
a paedophile who was...
Jesus Christ!
He was put away as a man. He then, whilst in prison, was transitioning to...
Oh, for fuck's sake! Oh, fuck. What the fuck was that? What did you break?
No, I just dropped some... I knocked over some stuff on my table because I was slumping into my microphone because I'm so fucking sick of this.
Yeah. Wow, okay.
A woman. He then got brought back to court because a member of the family made accusations, which was plenty of evidence.
And how did that, in terms of the jury system, did you feel that it was a successful exercise in justice?
Yes, but I had another case, and it was another gentleman who had a horrific history of crime.
Who transitioned into... Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Petty crime, offences against police officers. Nasty man. But on this occasion, I don't know how CPS-wise it ever got to court. To me, I know a lot of people don't like doing it, but to me, it may not be the right word, but I was honoured to do it.
You're on, okay. So for you, it was a successful
But
thing to go
the other thing I would say is, the other thing I felt was somebody could easily be put away with very little evidence.
Right, okay.
And someone with a lot of evidence could get off.
Let's hear from other people. Yes, in the page. So did it, without necessarily going into the details of the case, but did you feel, as an exercise in justice, I mean, because I've...
What was the purpose of saying that the person had transitioned? Like, take that out of what she said. How does it change anything, the point she was making?
I know, Ryan.
Did she also mention his fucking shoe size? Or what? What other random medical fact are you going to mention about this person that's irrelevant to the point that was being made? Fucking Christ almighty.
I also have friends who've done it. Some who said they thought it worked brilliant. Others who thought, not so much. What's your feeling?
I had a slightly different experience. I was called for jury service, and over the 2-week period it wasn't called once. So it's a really inefficient system, I found.
So you just sat around waiting to see if you'd be called?
And I think the bigger point here, as Sonia's alluded to, is the system itself, the whole legal system is underfunded and really needs a shake-up. I'm also an employment lawyer, and at the moment we're seeing when people are bringing cases in the employment tribunal, it's taking until 2027 or 2028 before they're being heard.
Right.
And the whole system is just very slow.
Man here in front, how did it work for you? Did you think it was successful?
I was called for what was going to be 2 weeks, turned out to be a 12-week trial, which only lasted 3 days. It fell apart for reasons that weren't disclosed to the jury. But the issue I had...
Hang on, a 12-week trial? What?
Well, assuming it was contempt of court outside, I'm
Right,
sure
but he said it was a 12-week case that fell apart in 3 days.
Yeah, I mean, if the case becomes undermined by that kind of thing, it can happen very quickly, right?
But it wasn't a 12-week case then; it was a 3-day case.
I guess that was the difference in the plan and the reality of how long it was, right?
Well, yeah, he described that very confusingly.
Yeah.
And a lot of us had on the jury is that we were told we were going to be paid £80 a week for our time for 12 weeks. I'm self-employed because they looked at my earnings, they decided I'd only earn £80 a week. So thankfully it was cancelled after a few days. But the chronic underfunding it causes so many problems for jurors. Yeah, there is no, what was I going to do for 12 weeks on £80 a week?
So would you welcome the idea of some cases not having a jury?
No, I think the bias, I am a biased person, you're a biased person, judges are biased. I don't think that the fate of somebody, particularly if they are potentially falsely charged, if they are innocent but they've been charged, I don't think that should be placed in the hands of a single person, nor should it be placed in the hands of unqualified magistrates. Magistrates do great work for society, but they are not qualified. You wouldn't trust me to do your heart surgery because I'd had 3 weeks training.
Yeah, I've met magistrates. I don't want them sending people to prison for years.
No, exactly. It's a crazy overreach from the state.
Yeah.
They have legal people on the panel.
Yes, but they do, but they are not judges. They're not barristers who are qualified to judges.
Okay. Callum.
I think the jury system is the jewel of our justice system and has been for over 800 years, and we shouldn't give it up lightly.
Do you think there's any? I mean,
no.
You know,
would you have given it up? Would you have given it up for a 6p bag tax?
True.
In an ideal world, you might argue that, and many people would and are. One of the reasons I imagine it's being suggested, we'll hear more from James if he's prepared to engage with it, given it's from a leak, is to save money. Is there any merit in that argument?
Well, we need to look at the inefficiencies of the system, and I think what we're hearing from people talking about
it's not supposed to be efficient. It's supposed to be redundant, not efficient.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a fucking factory.
Yeah.
It's not just on time delivery. It's a fucking jury. Yeah, like sometimes shit drags out. It's a fucking courtroom. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be efficient. It's specifically supposed to be redundant, so it catches everything, so that nothing falls through the cracks. That is the whole point of having a watertight judicial system. Any efficiency will come at the expense of overall operation.
Yeah.
A jury service, but other people have experienced as well, is we have a court system that is fundamentally very inefficient. We have courts being closed early when they could be open on other days. We also have private contracts with those who are responsible for transporting prisoners, who are often delayed in bringing those prisoners to court, meaning that the judge and the jury and the barristers are all waiting.
And they always leave the prisoners in like a really obvious place and say, "Oh no, we left it with a person at the front desk."
Around.
You know, and they just leave it there, and they get stolen. And then the prisoner gets stolen. That's an Amazon delivery joke. You're very welcome.
For those to come to court. So we need a fundamental overhaul of the efficiency of the system so we can catch up on, I believe it's 78,000 Crown Court cases that are still outstanding. But at the heart of it, we've also got to think about the victims. I've got a constituent who was a victim of domestic violence. Her former partner has been charged with 4 very serious offences, including ABH and strangulation. She was told she'll have to wait more than 2 years for that case to come to court. And that's true of many victims who are just waiting far, far too long. So we need some urgency and some investment behind sorting out the delays to our court system, not scrapping the jury system, which would allow people to have confidence in justice.
Is there anyone here who would support scrapping the jury system?
Literally
one person.
One person. Oh my god!
Actually,
is it the pensioner guy again?
Also, I'm gonna say this person who's put their hand up to respond is basically doing what they always do every time they do this. Is they're gonna take the opportunity to be able to get the chance to speak because everyone's got their hand down, and it's gonna say something like, "Well, I don't really support it, but maybe there's this small argument that I don't agree with, but potentially." That's what they always do because they want it's question time. You come to question time to ask questions, and you take the opportunity of when no one's got their hand up to ask your thing, even though you don't agree and you're not actually the one person who agrees with the government here.
Yeah.
And in the blue shirt in the middle.
Yeah, I've served on a jury which ended up on a mystery.
It is! It is, old prick!
Oh, for fuck's sake. Well, there you go. Thanks, mate. You really are the most worthless creature in the room. And that is a room that contains, like, Conservative MPs and shit. Like, come on now.
And what was interesting is we heard one day's evidence, and loads of the jurors wanted to vote the next day before we realised it was a mistrial and whether they thought the person was guilty or not. And I just thought, this is mad. We haven't even heard the evidence yet.
And why? What? Because they wanted to get home? Or?
Well, yeah, because they just felt it was the right thing to do. Let's just check whether we think he's guilty or not to begin with, and that can't be right. So I do think that...
So because you were in a room of wankers and you were a wanker, and they wouldn't have been allowed to do that anyway because the judge literally dictates when that can happen. Deliberation doesn't just happen like when the jury goes, "Oh well, we reckon he's guilty, so that's that."
So thank you. I think Chloe and Chats make a really good point. So jury management does need reform. Just need to take the foreman far more seriously. My godfather was foreman twice, and on both occasions a judge refused to remove a person. Only reason for finding guilt was they look guilty. But yeah, like I think jury management is a really important thing. I agree with that.
What a strange neck that man on the right has. Look, his chin and his Adam's apple are just a continuum.
It's very skibbity toilet.
It is extremely skibbity toilet. Yes, yes, yes.
For certain cases, there should be juries, but vast majority, and I think it was Sonia said that 90% are actually held in a magistrates' court. I think there's a bigger percentage in the Crown Court and further on where we could just get rid of some of this bureaucracy and time wasting, which a lot of people in the audience have said about. And I think part of the juries are part
bollocks. But the leak suggested that jury trial would be reserved only for the most serious crimes, murder, manslaughter, and rape. I mean, that is just way too far, I think.
Man in the front there.
So if you're only guilty of a bit of light embezzlement, make sure you kill someone as well and you get a jury trial.
With the blue shirt, you want to say something?
So I've been to jury duty once, and my observation is it gives...
Another one of the diaspora accents. Love it!
Love it. Oh, beautiful.
Human side of the whole justice system. Apart from, if there was... If it was only a judge who was going to decide, he would decide on technical grounds and stuff like that. There would be no human face to it. And I don't think all 12 people can be...
Honestly, I love all these different accents. It reminds me of my youth. I think I talked about this when we talked about
growing up in near Handsworth.
Well, no, I didn't live anywhere near Handsworth, but my nan did, so we spent weekends there.
Yeah.
And so I suppose I did kind of grow up near Handsworth, for a third of the week or whatever. And just these amazing accents. Every range of Caribbean you've ever heard, I heard spoken on the same fucking street. And then the next street it was Indians and Pakistanis and all kinds of things. It was, and every range from people who had just arrived who could barely speak English through to like some people who, even though they lived in, to quote a member of the Shadow Cabinet, a slum, apparently. They spoke with the Queen's English. It was really weird.
So, although I had to spend 5-6 days out of my working life, but it was worth it. And as a responsible citizen, I would think this is a good system.
So is this never going to see the light of day then, this idea?
Well, let's start by saying that no final decisions have been taken.
It was clearly something the government's considering.
The principle of it, because I agree that jury trials are the cornerstone of our justice system.
Which is why you want to get rid of them.
It's incredible because I agree with everybody who has these criticisms, but we'll do it anyway, like the Goofy meme.
Yeah,
we'll
they
do
play
it anyway.
a really crucial role in our justice system. But I also know, actually, I think Callum mentioned the figure: 78,000 cases in the backlog now. And, you know, it's an old principle.
Well, put some fucking money into it. You found 78 fucking billion for the defence industry. Why not spend a tenth of that and solve this problem?
They found 2 billion for digital ID. Over 3 years, it's going to cost 2 billion.
Yep,
to do
from
digital
absolutely nowhere, and no one wants it, and it
with no mandate at all.
Wouldn't change anything positively in the slightest.
Well, as pointed out correctly by Chloe in chat again, like, what jury would convict a disabled, blind, wheelchair-bound veteran of war for this country on terrorism charges for saying maybe we should stop genociding children? Again, there is a court backlog because there are fucking 2,500 arrests for holding up signs saying I oppose genocide.
Well, did you see the very small YouTube channel, the two Davies, the Scottish pair? Who are like both like long distance lorry drivers who like talk about politics, and they got arrested. They both got arrested. Now I don't know if there's going to be any criminal conviction or criminal trial or anything, but for daring to vaguely sort of gesture at supporting Palestine action, they were both arrested for making YouTube videos and shit. Like, is that a sense in a system like this where you got 78,000 people cases not being heard and rapists basically never going to jail? Is that a legitimately worthwhile use of time and resources? Come on now. Fucking behave yourselves.
I mean, they might as well arrest us for not supporting Palestine action, being explicit that we don't support them, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I would never, ever say I support Palestine action. Because that would be bad.
Don't.
What the fuck are you...
Neither of us do.
Why are you playing with pots and pans in your fucking house now?
No, it's not my bin.
No, I've just got the steel drums on the go. Let's fucking have it.
But justice delayed is justice denied, and I think we have to think about this.
So rather than that, let's just skip straight to the justice denied stage and not have any of the delay.
Let's get rid of the concept of justice.
Yeah, let's not have a delay, right? Have you noticed how trials sort of slow things down? Let's just toss a coin. Let's just have a judge toss a coin. Heads you're guilty, tails. Oh, sorry, mate. 5-year prison sentence. Never mind. Next.
We have to think about the options for making sure people can get the justice they deserve. Because I think if you have a victim of rape waiting 2 or 3 years to see a court, you know, that is not the kind of justice that we should think is acceptable in this country. And, you know, as Sonia said, rape, murder, manslaughter, you know, they would always be jury trials. But maybe we should think about what else is in the queue for a jury trial to make sure that we can prioritise those like rape, like murder, like manslaughter, that really need a jury trial. So, you know, as I said, there haven't been any final decisions taken, but we should look at these options because it's simply not okay to have a situation where so many tens of thousands of cases.
Well, fix the fucking problem then. Put money into the fucking system. Like, it's arguing like that. Well, the only thing we can do is just don't do justice at all anymore. Then it costs too much money to bother, so we're just not going to bother. We're just not going to. Again, neoliberalism will die at the altar of its own hubris. I swear to God, and it's going to take us all down with it.
Are waiting there for years on end.
But James, can I just ask, so Brian Leveson was commissioned to look into this, and he suggested that the threshold should be where the sentence would be 2 years or below. The leak was that it would be 5 years or below these very serious offences. In these discussions, is the
5 years or below? That we're not talking about some like petty shit anymore. If there's a 5-year sentence potentially, that's a serious fucking crime you're being accused of, and you're going to go in front of someone who went on a fucking 3-week fucking silly course to decide your fate.
I mean, it'd be interesting if the real... I don't think that this is true. It would be interesting if the real justification here is that they think magistrates will let off more people than they will convict, thereby meaning that we'll bring the court volume down and also the prison volume down. But we know full well that this Labour government would never do such a thing.
No, but also that'll just mean there are more criminals on the street. Okay, cool.
The cabinet at least reflecting on the fact
I mean, that is on the assumption that the police arrest people correctly, and I know police.
Yeah, true.
That any increase should be temporary and should return once the backlog has got down, or is there a risk that the Cabinet would endorse something that would last and endure permanently and deny people a jury trial in all of those offences forever.
Well, look, as I said, there's no final decisions have been taken. I'm not going to get into that speculation, but the principle of this, that we should look at options for getting down the backlog, I think is the right principle to approach this problem with.
Do you agree with that?
It's ridiculous. It's just going to end up with no justice. And the only no justice I like is no justice MTG, motherfuckers!
Yeah, buddy. I knew it would come up.
Yeah, I think it should be temporary because I think 800 years of trial by jury has shown it works. It's an important cornerstone of British system and democracy, and we shouldn't throw...
So you want to pay your taxes to fund it properly then?
No.
No. Just do jury trial, no money.
Yeah.
Right away.
Okay. I'm going to take another question from Parth Palmer. Where? Oh, there you are.
Greenbelt development is happening despite local opposition due to pressure on
It literally sounds like the Gap Year guy.
The Gap Year.
Development is happening on the Greenbelt.
We have the most integrated people in the fucking world. Honest to God. We've heard the full gambit from fucking Ramiz Raja to this fucking Gap Year cunt. They just everyone love it. Let's go.
But also, like, that's frustrating, right? I really want to make it clear. The green belt is not green or a belt. What it is arbitrary limits of city expansion from the TCPA from fucking 70 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's totally beyond its usefulness. People think that it's lush green fields and lovely meadows that are being concreted over, and in most cases it is none of those things.
Yeah, it's outlived its usefulness and is treated as if it's some sacrosanct thing. When, like, why? I think people need to live in places.
Like, I think we need to expand the remit for what constitutes an AONB and make sure that real, genuine places of wildlife diversity and green areas and green space have stronger and more resilient protections. What those spaces do not constitute, though, is the vast majority of what counts as green belt, which is not a green or a belt.
Yeah.
We should build houses where we need to. We should have, probably more new towns and places that aren't particularly outstanding in their natural beauty, and have really strong protections of places that do have wildlife diversity. Invest in rewilding of places that currently could need it and could have it, whilst not artificially constraining the size of where we should or we shouldn't be building houses based upon the where it hath deigned to be constricted by the fucking Attlee government 70 years ago in a totally different political economy.
Yeah. You know what they should do? They should build a civilised town in the place that's called Wolverhampton. That would be good. Just flatten it and build something worthwhile in its place.
Go full slam.
GPs, etc. Are we eroding environmental protections down to short-term targets?
Well, as we've heard, James said already, housing and reforming the planning system is a key
by the way,
part of the government's...
We're going for 3.5 hours, Kev. I'm probably going to stop now. Are you going to watch the rest of the last question?
No.
It'll be shit that I have said 1,000 times already up to this point.
Yeah.
Build more houses. Don't fuck over nature too much, but build densely so we don't have to use too much land space to maintain green space. We all know my opinions on this.
Oakley makes games. If you're not interested in Black Country slander, you are in the wrong fucking house here, okay? The Kev has got all the shade for the Yam Yams. I'm just saying. You can have every fucking last bit of it. Dickheads. No, I'm only joking.
Absolutely.
It's a local banter issue. Yes. Who's going? Some random geek who was in earlier. I'll send you over there.
I'm going to send people on Twitch over into SK the Crusader, who's not been live in ages. I'm glad to raid into them for the first time in what seems to be months and months. Obviously, I'm not live on YouTube, so probably my YouTube viewers are probably watching.
Well, I'll go over to
you
this.
or watching Nifar or whatever it is. But on Twitch, I'm going to go into SK the Crusader because I'm not live on YouTube.
SK the Crusader. There we go. Yes, go and enjoy whatever they're up to. Welcome to the UK, Margaret. What? Okay.
I'm not sure what's going on there.
Yeah, that is odd. But anyway, yes. I'll be back probably tomorrow or something, maybe. I don't know.
Likewise, I'll be left back tomorrow. Take care, stay safe, and free Palestine. And go and follow Kevin Logan immediately.
Go and follow No Justice MTG. She's Polanski friend. Oh.
I'm a friend of a leader of a political party and a known enjoyer of gulags. So
yeah, write that in the fucking Telegraph. Let's go. Yes, and as much more importantly, free Palestine.
Free Palestine. Bye-bye.
Bye.